Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of dawn stretches gently across the sky and the stillness of morning wraps around us like a soft blanket, I want to invite you into a sacred space. This moment, right now, before the noise, before the rush, before the world makes its demands, is holy. There is something deeply spiritual about the break of day, when our hearts are still tender and the soul feels the ache of questions unanswered. This is the hour when heaven seems just a little closer, and our hearts are most open to hear the whisper of God. Maybe this morning, you woke up not refreshed, but weary. Maybe last night your thoughts were too loud to sleep, and you tossed and turned through fears you could not silence. Perhaps you are carrying a burden that feels too heavy to bear, a diagnosis you did not expect, a goodbye you did not choose, a silence from someone who once loved you. Maybe you are standing at the edge of something uncertain, a job loss, a broken relationship, a door that just one T seemed to open. And now the morning has come, but with it has arrived that same tightness in your chest, that same dread in your bones, that same quiet ache of God. Where are you? You are not alone. There are countless others who rise to mornings like this, mornings that do not begin with joy, but with the soft throb of waiting, of longing, of holding on. And yet even here, in this fragile hour, there is hope, because morning also means new mercy, new breath, new opportunity to believe again. This space we step into together is not about pretending everything is okay. It is about being honest, raw, real, and then placing that honesty in the hands of the one who sees it all and still chooses to love us deeply. This is not just another motivational message or a temporary bandage. This is a call to something deeper, a divine invitation to draw near, to enter into conversation with the God who does not grow tired of hearing your voice, who is never bored with your brokenness, and who never misses a single tear that falls from your eyes. What you are about to hear and pray through is not a formula. It is not a checklist of perfect words. It is a journey, a sacred walk through pain, praise, and promise. It is about choosing faith even when fear has more evidence. It is about lifting your eyes when everything you wants to look down. It is about discovering that even when you do not feel strong, your willingness to whisper, "I still trust you," carries a power the enemy cannot defeat. Prayer is not only something we say, it is something we enter. And in this quiet morning, you are invited to enter, to bring your grief, your weariness, your questions, your faith however small, and let them rest in the presence of the Almighty. So, breathe deeply, set down your striving, let go of the need to figure it all out. You are not forgotten, you are not abandoned. And this morning could be the beginning of something new, because the God who made the sunrise has not forgotten how to light up your heart again. Are you ready? Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come to you carrying more than my body can express and more than my words can hold. I woke up before the sun and felt the weight of the day pressing on my chest before I even opened my eyes. There is a heaviness I cannot quite name, a quiet ache that follows me like a shadow. I am here, but I feel lost. I am breathing, but not fully alive. And I need you. I need you more than I can explain. You see the places in me that even I do not understand. You see the questions that go unanswered, the prayers I have whispered into the dark, and the fears that settle in my bones when no one else is watching. Sometimes it feels like I am walking through a valley so deep that the light cannot reach me. I try to pretend I am strong. I try to smile through the pain. But the truth is, I am tired, not just in my body, but in my spirit. I do not ask you to make the pain disappear. I ask you to meet me in it. I ask you to walk with me through this valley of shadows, to be near in a way that my heart can feel, even if nothing changes around me. I am not asking for a miracle today, but I am asking for presence. I am asking for the gentle comfort of knowing that I am not walking this road alone. Sometimes I wonder if you still hear me. I wonder if my cries have become too quiet, too tangled, too broken. But even now, I choose to believe that you are near, even when I do not see a way out, even when I do not feel the warmth of your light. I will hold on to the promise that you are with me, not because I feel it, but because I trust that you are who you say you are. Dear God, I do not want to carry this sadness into every morning. I do not want to begin each day from a place of fear and dread. I want to start fresh. I want to feel something again. I want to remember what hope felt like before the pain dulled it. I want to find my way back to joy, even if that joy begins as a whisper in the dark. This morning I give you my fragile heart, with all its cracks and fears and questions. I do not hide anything from you, because you already see it all. And even though I feel like I am unraveling, I believe you can hold me together. Believe you can bring beauty from what feels like a mess. I believe you can turn mourning into dancing, even if the dancing comes slowly, one small step at a time. If all I have today is weakness, let that weakness be where you show your strength. If all I can give is a whisper of trust, let that whisper reach you. If all I can do is cry, let my tears speak what I cannot say. You are a God who collects tears in a bottle, who understands the language of sorrow, who meets us not after the pain has passed, but right in the middle of it. I will not pretend to be okay. I will not perform joy when my soul is grieving, but I will come to you just as I am. And I will ask you to meet me in this valley with light, not the kind that blinds or burns, but the kind that gently leads my next step, that warms my skin like morning sun after a long night. Even here, even now, I believe you are doing something in the silence. I believe you are healing parts of me I did not know were broken. I believe you are walking with me, even when my footsteps are slow and my faith is smaller than I want it to be. I believe that nothing is wasted, not the tears, not the fears, not the waiting, not the ache. So help me breathe, God. Help me make it through this day. Help me look up, even if the sky feels heavy. Help me believe, even when believing is hard. Hold my hand in the shadows and teach my heart to hope again. Let me see even the smallest sign that you are near, a quiet moment of peace, a word that speaks to my soul, a song that reminds me I am not forgotten. I am not asking for the whole journey to be revealed. I just need enough light for the next step. I need the courage to rise, even if I rise slowly. I need the strength to speak, even if my voice trembles. I need the grace to take this day one breath at a time, trusting that you are writing a story I do not yet understand, but that will not end in despair. You are the shepherd who walks into the darkness with me. You are the light that cannot be overcome. You are the God who does not look away from pain, but steps into it with compassion. You are not afraid of my sadness. You are not ashamed of my weakness. You are not distant. You are here. And even if my feelings tell me otherwise, I will believe what is true. You are my strength when I have none. You are my comfort when I feel alone. You are my hope when the world feels empty. You are my safe place when everything else falls apart. And this morning, I choose to lean into that truth. Let this valley become sacred ground. Let this morning be more than another day of going through the motions. Let it be a beginning. Let it be the moment I look back on and say, that was when I chose to trust again. That was when I gave God my pain and He began to rebuild me. That was when my shadows met His light. Even now, I sense something beginning to shift, not outside me, but within, a quiet stirring, a slow opening, a tender sense that maybe, just maybe, I am not as far from healing as I thought. Maybe this valley is not a grave, a gateway. Maybe this pain is not the end, but the turning point. So I will stay here with you, in this quiet moment. I will not rush past the H. I will not silence the questions. I will not numb the grief. I will simply be with you and trust that you are doing what only you can do, bringing life where it feels like death, planting peace where fear once ruled, breathing hope into dry and weary places. I give you this valley. I give you this day. I give you all that I am and all that I am not. And I wait for you to meet me here. God, if you are still listening, and I choose to believe that you are, then hear me now. Not because I have the right words or perfect posture, but because I cannot keep this weight inside me anymore. Something in me is unraveling, something too raw to hide, too honest to package with polite prayers. I am not coming to you today out of duty or routine. I am coming because I need to break. I need to cry where someone holy can hold the fragments. The quiet that followed yesterday still lingers. I waited for a sign, a word, a whisper. Instead, there was only the hollow silence of unanswered longings. And yet, even that silence did not stop the H. It only made it louder. I walked through the motions, smiled where I should, stood upright when I wanted to fold, but all the while, this deep H kept echoing through me like a distant siren in the fog. I do not want to carry it in silence anymore. You said the brokenhearted are not forgotten, that you are close to them. So here I am, not trying to fix myself first, not trying to impress you with strength I do not have. I am just here, offering up this sob that rises from somewhere deeper than words. Let it be my prayer. Let it be my offering. Let it be enough. My voice trembles even now. It is not bold. It is not confident, but it is real. And maybe that is what you wanted all along. not polished words or stage belief. Just truth. Just need. Just a child crying in the dark, hoping their father will come running. I do not know how to pray when pain pulses this strongly. I do not know how to sing when every note feels out of tune, but I do know how to cry. I know how to call for help. I know how to whisper your name through the cracks in my chest. And I trust that even this trembling sound of desperation is not lost on you. There is something sacred about the hour before sunrise. The air feels heavy, but holy. It carries a stillness that seems to listen. And maybe this is the hour you walk among us, listening for those who are too tired to speak, but too desperate to stay silent. Maybe this is the hour where the deepest cries become the beginning of healing. Lord, I have questions I cannot shape into sentences, emotions I cannot decode. I only know that my soul feels like dry ground waiting for rain. I know I need you to speak, not with thunder, but with tenderness. I need you to remind me that I am still seen, still heard, still loved, even when I feel like nothing more than a whisper among louder voices. I give you my tears, the ones I did not let fall yesterday, the ones I wiped away before anyone could ask what was wrong. I give you the memories that surface without warning, the images that flash and sting, the regrets that weigh like stones in my chest. I give you the disappointment that I tried to hide under busy hands and distracted thoughts. I give you the ache that settles into my mornings like fog, uninvited but familiar. And in giving it all to you, I am not asking for quick relief. I am asking for holy companionship. I am asking you to come sit in the ashes with me, to wrap your presence around the places that feel deserted. I am asking you to draw near, not because I have earned it, but because you promised you would. There is something in me that still believes you are kind, that even in the silence, you are not cruel, that even in the waiting, you are not absent, that even now, when everything feels unfinished, you are still working. And so, I cry out, not to demand answers, but to make space for you to come in. God, I am not afraid to feel anymore. I am afraid to feel alone in what I feel. But if you are here, and I believe you are, then I do not have to be ashamed of my sorrow. I do not have to apologize for my ache. I do not have to dress up this pain in polite language. I can just bring it raw, and you will not turn away. You are not intimidated by my honesty. You are not tired of my repetition. You do not roll your eyes at my struggle or call my sadness dramatic. You are the God who bends down low, who kneels beside the hurting, who catches the smallest cry and treats it like a sacred song. And if that is true, then I can cry without shame. Let this cry be the sound that breaks the silence. Let it be the crack in the dam where healing begins to flow. Let it be the turning point, not because my situation has changed, but because I have finally stopped pretending, because I have finally said the truth out loud, because I have finally let you into the space I tried to manage alone. This pain I feel, it is not a punishment. It is not proof that you are far. It is a sign that I need you more than I thought. And maybe that need is holy. Maybe that ache is not weakness, but a calling. Maybe the sound of my cry is not a failure, but a beginning. So I cry out, not with perfect words, but with open hands, not with rehearsed prayers, but with breathless hope. I cry because I still believe you hear. I cry because somewhere deep inside me, a part of my soul still reaches for light. I cry because this pain deserves to be seen, and you are the only one who can hold it without flinching. And as I cry, I sense the ground beneath me shift. Not much, not dramatically, but just enough to know something has changed. Maybe not outside of me, but within. Maybe the crack in my voice made space for your whisper. Maybe the heat of my tears has softened soil that was once too hard to receive anything. Maybe the sound of my breaking is what lets the healing begin. So I keep crying, I keep calling, I keep releasing. Not because I am weak, but because I trust that you are strong enough to handle it all. And I will stay here in this moment, in this hour before the dawn, until I feel the hush of your nearness wrap around my soul like the promise of morning light. Let my cry rise like incense. Let it be enough. Let it reach you where you are and draw you close to where I am. And if I cannot yet see the sunrise, then let me hear the first birds sing. Let their song remind me that light is coming, that you are coming, that you never left. Let my soul exhale what it has held in too long. Let my spirit tremble if it must, but let me not cry in vain. Let this moment become sacred. Let this brokenness become holy ground. And as the sky slowly shifts toward light, let something shift in me too. Not because the pain is gone, but because I no longer carry it alone. Lord, even as the tears still linger on my face, I begin to feel the quiet nudge of something softer. Something steadier, rising beneath the H. It is not loud or sudden, but it is there. And I know it is you. After pouring out my soul, after giving voice to what I had buried for so long, I sense you inviting me to pause, not to forget the pain, but to remember your goodness in the middle of it. Sometimes, in the thick of sorrow, I forget that this is not the first valley I have walked. This is not the first storm I have weathered. And it is not the first time you have carried me when I could not carry myself. There have been other mornings like this, other nights even darker than this one, and yet somehow I am still here, still breathing, still reaching. That in itself is a kind of miracle. God, remind me of the times you came through when I thought all was lost. Remind me of the doors you opened that no one else could. Remind me of the strength you gave when my body trembled and my heart gave way. Remind me how you whispered peace over panic, how you brought clarity when all I saw was confusion. Let the memory of those moments rise now, not just in my mind, but in my spirit. There was the time I thought the loneliness would swallow me whole, and you sent a friend I did not expect with a word I did not ask for. There was the night I sat in the emergency room, trembling and helpless, and somehow there was a calm that settled over me like a blanket, though nothing made sense. That was you. There was the season when the bills outnumbered the blessings. And yet we made it through. That was you too. You have never promised an easy path, but you have promised to walk with me, and you have kept that promise over and over again. So even now, even with questions still unanswered and hopes still on hold, I choose to remember. I choose to shift my gaze from what hurts to what has healed. I choose to let gratitude rise, not because I have everything I want, but because I still have evidence of you in my story. When fear threatens to choke out my faith, let memory become my weapon. Let every miracle, every provision, every mercy remembered become a stone I lay down to mark the place where you showed up. Let my past with you speak louder than the fear of an unknown future. Let it tell me again that you are faithful, that you are not done, that the story is still unfolding. I remember how you brought peace to my family when we were tearing at the seams. I remember how you softened hearts that seemed unmovable. I remember how you restored what looked completely broken. And I remember how you walked with me through the grief I thought would never end. These are not distant tales. These are the milestones of our history. And if you did it then, you can do it again. Let me not treat yesterday's miracles as ordinary. Let me not forget how extraordinary it was when you showed up in the ordinary details of my life. The morning I found just enough strength to get out of bed. The evening I laughed after days of silence. The moment someone said exactly what I needed to hear without even knowing what I was carrying. These were not coincidences. These were kindnesses written by your hand. Lord, teach me to remember well. Teach me to hold onto the stories that feed my faith. When discouragement creeps in, when fear shouts louder than truth, help me bring to mind what you have already done, not as a fantasy or wishful thinking, but as firm ground beneath my feet. Your track record is good. Your ways are higher. And even if I do not yet see what is next, I can rest in what I have already seen. I remember the quiet moments when I felt seen. I remember the unexpected provision. I remember the wisdom you gave in a split second when I had no idea what to say. I remember the calm that made no sense. I remember the nudge to forgive when I did not want to, and how peace followed. I remember how you gave me breath when anxiety stole it. And I remember how the weight I thought would crush me became the very thing that made me stronger. These memories are not decorations, they are anchors. They are living proof that you are not a God of theories, but a God of presence. They are reminders that I am not imagining you, that the faith I cling to is rooted in experience, not just hope, that you are the same yesterday, today, and forever, and that you never change, even when everything else does. So let me build an altar here not with stone or wood, but with stories. Stories that will keep me standing when the ground beneath me shakes. Stories I can return to when the days grow long and the waiting stretches thin. Stories that speak when my words run out and my heart forgets how to believe. Let them rise like a song from deep within me, a melody made not of sound, but of sacred memory. I do not need you to prove yourself again. You already have. What I need is to remember. And remembering is a choice. So I choose it now. I choose to open the pages of my past with you and find the fingerprints of grace. I choose to tell myself the truth again and again until fear no longer has a place to rest. You have been faithful. You have been kind. You have been near. and no valley I face today can erase what you have already done. No lie the enemy whispers can undo the story we have written together. No storm in this moment can wipe away the miracles that brought me here. So I will whisper thanks even when the pain lingers. I will declare goodness even when the answers delay. I will praise you not just for what I long for, but for what I remember, because memory is worship too, because gratitude is an act of war against despair, because hope grows strongest when it grows from what is true. Let today be a day of remembrance, not of what I have lost, but of what I have gained. Let me walk through this morning with my eyes on what has been redeemed. Let the story of our past guide my feet into the future. And when I am tempted to believe that you have forgotten me, let me remember that I have not been forgotten before. Not once. Not ever. And if I must wait, I will wait with memory in my hands. If I must walk slowly, I will walk with testimony on my lips. If I must rise through the I will rise remembering that the same God who met me yesterday will surely meet me again today. Father, as I sit with the memories of what you have already done, I feel something gentle begin to rise. It is not loud. It does not roar. It stirs like a breeze at the edge of a heavy morning, almost easy to miss if I am not paying attention. I think it might be faith, not the kind that moves mountains just yet, but the kind that simply breathes. And maybe that is where everything starts. Maybe it always begins with something small. I used to think faith had to be bold and loud, had to stand tall and speak with certainty. But this morning, it feels more like a whisper. It feels like the tender of trying again. It feels like putting one shaky foot in front of the other, even when I am not sure where the path will lead. It feels like holding out my heart to you again and saying, I do not have much, but I am willing. Lord, if faith is a seed, then let this be the moment it takes root. Let this fragile, uncertain trust sink deep into the soil of your presence. It does not look like much right now. In fact, it feels buried, hidden beneath layers of doubt and tiredness. But I believe that even buried things are not wasted. Even in the dark, something can grow. You are not asking me for confidence I do not have. You are not waiting for me to feel strong before you meet me. You simply ask me to show up with what I have, and what I have today is small. What I have is hesitant. What I have is soft and breakable. But it is real, and I place it in your hands. You said faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. So I bring you this seed. It does not roar, it does not shine, but it is here, it is mine, and I give it to you. I do not know what you will do with it. I do not know how long it will take. But I trust that you see it. I trust that you will water it. I trust that you will grow it in ways I cannot yet imagine. Sometimes, Lord, I have compared my faith to others. I have looked around and wondered why mine does not look as strong, as loud, as sure. But this morning, I choose to stop comparing. I choose to honor the seed in my hand. However small, I choose to believe that you are just as pleased with fragile beginnings as you are with steady faith, because you see what it took to plant it. You see the nights I stayed silent but stayed present. You see the mornings I showed up even when I felt nothing. You see the prayers I whispered with trembling lips. You see the pages I opened when the words blurred. You see the way I still reach. Still hope. Still try. And that matters to you. That moves you. That is not forgotten. Let today be a day of planting, not just planting ideas or dreams, but planting belief, planting the choice to trust again, planting the hope that even what feels lifeless can bloom in time. Let this prayer be a place where the seed of faith sinks deeper into the earth, where I stop needing to understand every outcome and start trusting the one who holds them. There is no shame in small faith. There is no weakness in quiet trust. There is beauty in beginning again. There is power in surrender. And there is hollowness in trying one more time. You are not measuring the size of my faith. You are measuring the surrender behind it. You are watching the hands that open, the heart that returns, the spirit that says, I am still here. I may not feel brave, but I do feel willing. And maybe that is the soil where everything begins. Maybe that is enough. Maybe the greatest acts of courage begin in silence, in stillness, in secret places where only you see. Maybe the seed does not need to shout to grow. It only needs to be planted. So I lay my small seed down. I press it gently into the ground of this moment, and I cover it with every memory of your faithfulness. I water it with every tear I have cried. I shield it with every word of truth I can still hold on to. I name it trust. I name it surrender. I name it hope. Let this faith begin to grow. Let it take shape slowly, steadily. Let it rise through the layers of fear and doubt. Let it stretch upward toward light, even when light feels far. Let it become something that roots me. Let it become something that reminds me who I am. Let it become something that tells the world I still believe. And even if no one else sees the growth yet, I will trust that something is happening beneath the surface. I will trust that you are tending to what I cannot yet see. I will trust that what begins as a whisper can one day become a song. That what starts as trembling can one day become a testimony. You do not rush growth. You do not force fruit before its time. You are patient. You are kind. You are present in the process. And if you are not in a hurry, then I do not need to be either. I can rest knowing that the seed is enough for today. Let this small act of trust change the way I see this morning. Let it shift my focus from what I cannot fix to the one who is faithful. Let it teach me to stay close to you, not because I feel strong, but because you are. Let it remind me that miracles often begin in places no one else is looking, and that breakthrough is not always loud. Sometimes it begins with a whisper of yes. You do not despise my small beginning. You celebrate it. You rejoice over it. You see it and you speak life into it. And so I will stop despising it too. I will stop minimizing my little steps. I will stop calling this seed insignificant. I will name it what it truly is: sacred. Because it holds the potential for something beautiful. And because it belongs to you, I bring you this seed of faith. I place it in your soil. I surrender the need to control how it grows. I release the pressure to measure its progress. I simply let it be. And I let you be the one who makes it bloom. If I waver, Draw me back. If I grow weary, hold me close. If I forget, remind me. But never let me walk away from this simple truth, that even the smallest faith is precious to you, that even the quietest trust carries weight in your kingdom, that even now something is growing. God, if even the smallest seed of faith is enough for you, then I will trust that something has already begun beneath the surface of my life, though it is not loud, though it does not bloom all at once. I sense that something is shifting, and in this stillness, after the tears and after the ache, I feel the first brush of light. It comes not as a blaze, not as fire, but as warmth, as clarity, as the hush before something beautiful is spoken. You know how long the night has felt, how long I have walked through heavy shadows and thick silence. But now, slowly, almost shyly, I feel you draw back the curtain of despair and let the light begin to come in. It touches the edges of me, first the corners of my heart, where hope has been hiding. And though it is not bright yet, it is real, it is here, and I open myself to it. Father, let this light fall gently, like morning sunlight through a cracked window, finding its way into forgotten spaces. Let it warm the places that have gone cold from waiting. Let it rest on every wound I tried to cover. Let it wrap around the questions I still cannot answer. I am not asking for it all to change in a moment. I'm asking to see just enough to believe that change is coming. You are the God who said, "Let there be light." And when you spoke, darkness had no choice but to give way. So speak again, Lord. Speak into this morning. Speak into my soul. Speak into this day. Let your voice carry light into every shadow I have walked through. Let your words become lamps to my feet and guides to my path, even if I do not know what lies ahead. If you are lighting the way, I will keep walking. It is not the absence of darkness that makes the light holy. It is its persistence, the way it insists on breaking through, even when the world feels heavy. That is what I feel now, not ease, but a beginning, a breath I did not know I still had in me. A moment where I do not have to strive to feel better, because your light is doing the work for me, slowly, silently, softly. You are not only the God of thunder and wind, you are the God of gentle mornings, of light that stretches inch by inch, of peace that whispers before it sings. And maybe that is how you choose to meet me, now not with fireworks, but with sunlight, not with answers, but with presence, not with loud declarations, but with the quiet confidence that you are near. I do not need the whole sky to be clear. I just need to know that the light is returning, that this is not the end of my story, that this valley will not be forever, that this H will not be the final word. Let your light remind me of that. Let it trace the outlines of my heart and tell me that healing is possible, that joy is not gone, that peace is not a memory. There have been days where it felt like I would never feel anything again. Days where numbness wrapped itself around me like armor. But even now, I feel it beginning to break. I feel the frost melting from places I thought were frozen. I feel your love warming what sorrow tried to extinguish. This is not just a new day. It is a new beginning. Let the light reach my mind, Lord. Let it clear away the fog of lies I have believed. Let it shine truth over every fear that pretended to be fact. Let it name the lies for what they are and give me courage to stop agreeing with them. Let it pull me out from the corners where shame told me to hide. Let it give me permission to breathe deeply again. Let it touch my body too. Let it move through tense muscles and weary limbs. Let it speak rest to every part of me that has been holding its breath for too long. Let it remind my body that it is safe to exhale, that you are here, that I do not have to carry this alone. That light has found me. Even here, let it illuminate what is good. Let it help me see what I still have, what has not been taken, what is still worth reaching for. Let it show me the kindness in the faces of those around me. Let it bring to light the simple blessings I have overlooked, the breath in my lungs, the quiet in this room, the chance to begin again. Let the light help me recognize the sacred hiding in the ordinary. And when the light reveals things I have buried, grief, regret, unmet longing, help me not to turn away. Help me stay in the moment, to let your light hold me steady, because only what is brought into the light can be healed. And I want to be healed, even if it takes time, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it means facing what I once avoided. If you are with me, I can do it. If you are leading, I will follow. I am not afraid of the light anymore. I am ready to be seen. I am ready to be loved in full view. I am ready to step out from behind the shadows I have used for safety. I am ready to believe that I do not need to hide from you, that you do not turn away from my mess, that you do not flinch at what you see in me, that you still call me worthy of your presence. Let your light awaken what has been sleeping in me, dreams I set aside, desires I shut down, pieces of identity I forgot how to carry. Let them stretch again. Let them breathe again. Let them rise with the sun, not in a rush, but in rhythm with grace. I am not behind. I am not too late. I am right on time for what you are doing next. There is something holy in the way light moves. It does not demand attention. It does not force its way in. It just shows up and changes everything. That is what you are doing in me right now. Showing up. Changing things. Little by little, not in loud declarations, but in quiet revolutions. Lest this be the morning I begin to see myself differently. Let this be the hour I stop agreeing with darkness. Let this be the day I let light lead. Even if my steps are small, even if I stumble, even if I am still healing, light is here. You are here. And that is enough for now. So I open every part of me to the light. Not just the parts that are neat and clean, but the places that have not seen sunlight in years. The wounded places, the abandoned places, the afraid places. I open the doors. I draw back the curtains. I say, come in, and do what only you can do. Make me new in the warmth of your light. Father, now that the light has found me, something in me wants to move, to act, to do something that proves I am okay again. But even as that urgency rises, I sense you calling me to pause, to not rush past the moment, to not run into business just to avoid the quiet. It is here, in this still space between sorrow and strength, that you invite me deeper. You are not asking me to perform healing. You are not asking me to manufacture peace. You are simply asking me to be still. And that stillness feels strange in a world that glorifies noise, in a life where doing often feels safer than being. But today, I will try. I will sit with you, not to earn anything, but to remember who I am when everything else fades away. God, let this stillness become a sanctuary. Let it be the place where my soul stops running. Let it be the quiet within the chaos, the breath between the battles. I do not need to fix everything today. I do not need to explain everything to you. I only need to show up with honesty and let this stillness hold me. I have spent so much time chasing answers, reaching for clarity, trying to manage what is out of my hands. But right now, I lay that all down. I release the questions that exhaust me. I loosen my grip on the outcomes I cannot control. I silence the inner critic that says stillness is weakness. Because I know it is here in this hush, this holy pause, that you do some of your deepest work. Let this moment be a fortress, a place of shelter, not escape, a refuge, not retreat, a space carved out not to hide from the world, but to remember that I am held even in it. You are my hiding place, not because you shield me from life, but because you meet me in the middle of it and anchor me in truth. The noise will still be there when I return, but for now, I choose the quiet. I choose to step inside this sacred stillness and breathe again, to hear my own heartbeat without fear, to hear your voice not in thunder, but in whisper. I do not need to feel strong to come here. I only need to come as I am. Lord, teach me to rest without guilt. Teach me that stillness is not the absence of purpose, but the presence of peace. That I do not lose momentum by pausing. I gain strength. I gain clarity. I gain the wisdom that only silence can bring. Teach me to stop reaching for what drains me and start receiving what restores me. Let this stillness quiet the noise of comparison. Let it still the panic of urgency. Let it hush the false narratives that tell me I am only valuable when I am producing. Remind me that I am loved before I do anything. That I am yours before I lift a finger. That my worth is not determined by movement, but by belonging. This stillness is not empty. It is full of you. It is the space where my questions soften, and your presence expands. It is where I learn to listen with more than ears, to feel with more than emotions, to trust with more than logic. It is where I let go, not because I have to, but because I want to, because something in me knows that surrender is safe here. You are not in a rush with me. You are not frustrated by my pace. You do not measure my progress by the standards of this world. You lead me gently, patiently, kindly, and in this stillness, I remember that the pressure I carry was never mine to bear alone. Let this stillness unclench the fists I did not know I was holding. Let it soften the defenses I built without meaning to. Let it open the places I have guarded too tightly for too long. I am tired of holding everything together. Let me fall into your arms and simply be. No fixing. No pretending. No striving. You are not afraid of my silence. You do not need constant words to stay close. You meet me in the quiet and remind me that even when I am not speaking, I am still known, still loved, still yours. This stillness is not empty space. It is holy ground. It is the place where healing seeps in without asking permission. Let the world spin while I stay here. Let responsibilities wait while I recover. Let the day unfold without my urgency. Let the hours pass without me having to fill them. For just this moment, let me dwell in the truth that you are enough. And because you are enough, I do not have to be. Stillness is hard for me. It brings up what I try to avoid. It slows me down when I feel the pressure to move fast. But if you are here in it, I will stay. I will choose presence over performance. I will choose rest over rushing. I will choose to trust that nothing essential will be lost while I am found in you. There are no expectations in this fortress. Only grace. Only space to breathe. Only the steady rhythm of a God who is not shaken by my shaking, who is not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me, who speaks peace not by solving everything, but by simply being near. So I come into this stillness not to escape life, but to live it differently, to be rooted before I reach, to be filled before I pour, to be grounded before I go. Let this stillness be the beginning of something deeper, a rhythm that anchors me beyond this moment. And when I do rise from this place, let me carry the stillness with me. Let it remain in my breath, my steps, my speech. Let it shape the way I respond, the way I see, the way I trust. Let it be the evidence that I have been with you, that I have known peace not as a concept, but as a person. You are not just a refuge. You are my rhythm. You are not just a protector. You are my peace. And you are not just a pause in the chaos. You are the stillness that steadies me for the journey ahead. So here I am, Lord, still, listening, letting go, holding on, resting in the safety of your presence, where I do not need to rush or prove or strive. Lord, even as I rest in stillness, even as I sit in the quiet that has begun to anchor me, there are waves beneath the surface, thoughts, fears, emotions that try to rise again. They come without warning, like sudden wind across water. One moment I feel centered, and the next, the current pulls. I know this pattern too well. The feeling that peace is fleeting and chaos is always waiting just outside the door, but I refuse to drown today. You know how quickly the mind turns on itself, how fast the heart can tighten. You know how even after a moment of deep calm, the noise can come rushing back. The worries I thought I had laid down, the questions I thought I had silenced, the memories that surface like waves too strong to fight. You know them all, and yet you are not afraid of them. You are not shaken by the storm in me. God, help me not to be swept away. Help me stay grounded in what is true. Even when everything around me feels unstable, help me stand. Even when the tide of anxiety rises fast, not because I am strong enough, but because I am held. Because even if the water reaches my shoulders, I know you will not let it reach over my head. There are days when panic feels closer than peace, when the breath in my chest grows shallow and the thoughts race too fast to catch, when I feel like I am sinking, not into grace, but into something I cannot name. On those days, on this day, I cling to you with everything I have. I say your name not as a formality, but as a lifeline. I choose not to fight the water on my own. I reach for you. Let your presence be my life jacket. Lord, let it wrap around me with security. Let it remind me that even if I feel like I am going under, I am not forgotten. You are here. You are near. And you do not let your children drown in the waves. You have already conquered. You walked on water. You stood in the storm. You calmed the wind with a single word. And if you can do all that, then surely you can calm the storm in me, or at least hold me steady until it passes. I do not ask you to take away every wave. I only ask you to make me braver in the middle of them. Some days I tread water, some days I float, some days I sink and resurface, gasping. But I am still here, still believing, still showing up in prayer. And I know that matters to you, that my refusal to give up is a form of worship, that my stubborn hope is a kind of faith that pleases you more than polished words ever could. I choose not to drown in shame, not to drown in fear, not to drown in the lies that tell me I am too much or not enough, not to drown in silence, pretending I am fine when I am not. I will not let these thoughts define me. I will not let these feelings pull me under. I will look up. I will breathe deep. I will speak truth over the waters, even if my voice trembles. You are not watching me from a distance. You are in the water with me, holding me up, whispering courage, keeping my head above the rising tide. You do not abandon when it gets deep. You draw even closer. And that is what saves me, not my strength, but your nearness. Let your word be the weight that grounds me when the currents shift. Let your promises tether me to something unshakable when I cannot feel solid ground. Let me cling to the anchor of who you are. Let me hold tight to the rope of grace, the one that does not fray even when my grip loosens. Teach me how to breathe through the storm, not shallow breaths of panic, but full breaths of trust, breaths that remind my body that I am safe, that I am seen, that I am not alone in this. Let each inhale be a prayer, each exhale a release of fear. Let the rhythm of breath become a rhythm of trust, moment by moment, breath by breath. And when I am tempted to surrender to the pull of discouragement, when I feel the heaviness pressing against my chest, whisper again that I am stronger than I feel, not because of me, but because of you, because you have gone before me, because you are with me now, because no wave has ever caught you off guard. Lord, remind me that the storm does not last forever, that no matter how loud the wind or how fierce the sea, there comes a moment when the skies part and calm returns. And even if that moment is not today, I will not stop believing for it. I will keep swimming. I will keep singing. I will keep holding on. I will not be afraid of my own depth. I will not panic when I cannot see the shore. I will trust that you are the God of deep waters, and that there is no place too far, too dark, too wild for your love to reach me. Let this be the day I refuse to drown in what once overwhelmed me. Let this be the day I look the waves in the eye and remember who is in the boat with me. You have calmed greater storms. You have rescued many before me, and I believe you will do it again, in your timing, in your way. While I wait, I will not hold my breath in fear. I will breathe with intention, with defiance, with hope. I will float on grace. I will rest in faith. I will trust the one who commands the sea. Even if the winds howl and the clouds darken, I will anchor my soul in the truth that you are not far. You are in this with me. You are not pacing on the shore, waiting for me to make it back. You are beside me, beneath me, around me, and your arms are stronger than any undertow. So let this be a declaration. I will not drown. I will not go under. I will not be consumed. The waves may rise, but my hope rises higher. The winds may rage, but your voice is louder still. The sea may shift, but you remain the same. Let my courage grow, not because the water calms, but because I remember who holds it. Let my faith rise, not in the absence of fear, but in spite of it. Let me trust that you are doing something. Even here, even now, in the place that feels most unstable, I choose to stay afloat in grace. I choose to keep my eyes on you. I choose to believe that this storm will not have the final word, because you already spoke the first one. Let there be light. Let there be peace. Let there be me still here, still breathing, still yours, God, in the storm, when everything seems loud and restless and impossible to sort through. I cling to the sound of you, the whisper that rises above the roar, the steady voice that cuts through the chaos, the tone that is different from every other voice in my mind. I am learning to recognize it not always by volume, but by peace, by truth, by the way it speaks to my deepest places without ever needing to shout. Even now, as the storm subsides but leaves its echo behind, I sit with the noise still ringing in me, the thoughts that swirl, the doubts that linger, the questions that do not let go easily. And in all of that, I ask for one thing: help me hear you. Help me notice your voice above the rest. Help me discern the words that are from you and silence the ones that are not. Father, there are so many voices competing for space in my head. The voice of fear, telling me that it is too late. The voice of shame, reminding me of every failure. The voice of worry, projecting disaster into every unknown. The voice of weariness, telling me to give up. They all sound urgent. They all feel familiar. But I know now that not every voice deserves my attention. You are the voice of stillness, of strength wrapped in gentleness, of love that does not control but invites. You speak in a way that my soul recognizes, even when my mind is unsure. And when you speak, something inside me calms. Something inside me stands up straighter. Something inside me begins to hope again. Let that voice be the one I follow today. Let that voice shape my steps. Let it interrupt the spirals and soften the tension. Let it fill the spaces where anxiety used to live. Let it name me correctly. Let it tell me again who I am and who you are. Because that is the voice I was made for. Is the voice that brings me back to life. God, I confess how often I have listened to lies, not because I wanted to, but because they were loud, because they were repeated, because they came in moments of weakness. I did not always know how to fight them. But now, with your help, I want to start speaking back. I want to align my thoughts with what you have said, not with what fear predicts. Teach me how to take every thought captive, not just the obviously wrong ones, but the subtle ones too, the ones that dress up in logic, the ones that sound like realism, but are rooted in unbelief, the ones that wear my voice, but do not carry your truth. Show me how to hold them up to the light and ask, is this you? Is this who you are? Is this how you speak? And when I do not know the answer, remind me what your voice sounds like. Sounds like love without condition, like mercy that does not keep score, like correction without condemnation, like presence without pressure. It sounds like peace. Even when the answer is wait, it sounds like truth. Even when the truth is hard, it sounds like hope. Even when the road is long. I do not need you to be louder than everything else. I need you to be clearer. I need to recognize your tone when my thoughts are crowded. I need to anchor to the sound of you, even when everything around me is unstable. I need to turn my attention from the volume of fear to the weight of your words. Let your voice rise above the storm in me. Let it speak into every corner that still trembles. Let it sing over my mind like a song I forgot I knew. Let it be the compass I follow when direction is unclear. Let it be the fire that melts away confusion. Let it be the answer to questions I have not yet formed. And when I struggle to hear you, help me not to panic. Help me to lean in, to quiet down, to remove the distractions that keep me from tuning in. Help me not to mistake your silence for absence. Help me to trust that sometimes your voice waits for my full attention. You are not hiding. You are not playing games with me. You are not making it hard to hear you just to test my faith. You are speaking in ways I can receive, in moments I am ready, in language that goes beyond words. You are always speaking, and I want to become someone who listens with my whole self. I do not just want to hear for comfort. I want to hear for transformation. I want to be changed by the sound of you. I want to become someone whose life reflects what you have said, not what fear predicted. I want to carry your words like light in dark places, like seed in dry soil, like anchor in uncertain winds. Let your voice shape my inner world so that the noise no longer rules. Let it become the filter for every decision, every reaction, every narrative I tell myself. Let it disrupt the lies with holy authority. Let it rewire my inner dialogue with truth that lasts. Let it speak identity into every broken part of me. I want to wake up in the morning and tune my ears to you first, not to the news, not to social media, not to the fear in my own head, but to you, to what you are saying, to what you are reminding me of, to what you are calling me to believe again. Let your voice become the default, not the exception, the first, not the fallback. Even if I only hear one sentence, let that sentence echo louder than all the rest. Even if you only whisper one word, let that word become a rock under my feet. Even if your message today is simple, let it be enough. Because one word from you carries more power than 1,000 others combined. And when the waves come back, as they often do, And when the storm rises again, as life sometimes demands, let me return to this place. Let me quiet my soul. Let me listen for the voice that has never failed me. Let me find in that sound the strength to keep going, the courage to stay the course, and the peace to keep trusting. You have always spoken truth over me. Since the beginning, when you formed me, when you called me by name, when you dreamed me into being, you have spoken. Let me believe what you said, then more than what fear says now. Let me cling to what is eternal when everything around me feels temporary. Your voice, Lord, is the one I trust. It does not confuse. It does not wound. It does not manipulate. It frees. It heals. It leads. It loves. And today, that is enough. I do not need every answer. I only need to know that you are still speaking, and that I am still listening. Father, now that I am beginning to hear you more clearly, now that the noise has started to fade and your voice is rising steady and true, I feel something within me stirring a strength I did not know was still there. It is not loud or showy, but it is real. And I know what it is. It is worship, rising up again like a forgotten flame, suddenly catching wind. It has been buried under silence and sorrow, but it is not gone. It has never been gone. It has only been waiting for permission to breathe. I have spent so many mornings just trying to survive, just trying to make it through without falling apart. But today feels different. Today feels like a shift. I am not just trying to hold on anymore. I am ready to rise. Not because everything around me has changed, but because something within me has. And I know now that I can choose to worship. Not just when I feel joy, but especially when I feel weak. That praise is not just a response to victory, it is the pathway to it. God, let my worship become my weapon. Let it be the sound that breaks the silence of despair. Let it be the breath that pushes back fear. Let it be the light that refuses to bow to the shadows. I do not need perfect circumstances to praise you. I do not need a full heart. I only need a willing one. I only need to lift my voice, even trembling, and declare that you are still good. Worship is not noise. It is defiance. It is courage. It is choosing to see you above what surrounds me. It is standing on the battlefield with my hands lifted, not in surrender to the enemy, but in surrender to the one who fights for me. It is lifting a song even when the tears still fall. It is believing that my melody matters, that my voice carries weight, that something breaks in the unseen when I choose to praise instead of panic. I have waited for joy to come before I worship. But what if joy comes because I worship? What if breakthrough is not always the trigger for praise, but the result of it? What if chains fall not when I understand everything, but when I choose to sing anyway? Lord, let this morning be filled with songs. They do not have to be loud. They do not have to be beautiful. They just have to be honest. Let them rise from the honest places, the places where I still hurt, still question, still long for more. Let my praise echo through my fear and remind it that it no longer has the final word. Let worship interrupt the spiral. Let it lift me from numbness. Let it shake the dust off my faith and remind me of who you are. When I sing, let it realign my soul. Let it speak truth to the parts of me that have forgotten. Let it declare that you are still seated, still sovereign, still with me in the middle of it all. You are not looking for performance. You are looking for heart, for honesty, for presence, and that I can give even when the melody is cracked and the words are few. I can give you this, my breath, my attention, my love in the form of song. I can give you the sound of a soul that refuses to go quiet, even in the middle of the storm. Worship is not just for when I feel close to you. It is for when I feel far. It is the bridge that carries me back. It is the fire that keeps burning when night drags long. It is the anthem that breaks open hard ground. And so I will sing, I will speak, I will lift what I have, even if it is small, even if it feels like not enough, because you take what is small and multiply it. You breathe life into what feels empty. You move when I open my mouth in faith. Let my praise not be passive. Let it be bold. Let it shake the atmosphere. Let it fill the space around me with something holy. Let it be the flag I raise in the face of discouragement. Let it be the answer to the questions that wear me down. Let it be my declaration of who you are, not just to me, but to everything that tries to stand against me. I praise you not just because you have rescued me before, but because I know you will again. I praise you not just for what you have done, but for who you are, unchanging, unfailing, undeniably good. I praise you because it realigns me, because it reminds me that I am not powerless, that I have something to fight with, that my voice is not a whisper lost in the wind, but a sound that shakes the gates of fear. Worship is war in slow motion. It is healing disguised as song. It is the sword I carry into every room, every battle, every valley. And this morning, I draw that sword. I lift it with trembling hands. I swing it in faith. I let it carve out space for hope, for peace, for presence. I let it become the rhythm of a heart returning to its source. Let my house hear the sound of worship. Let it echo in rooms where grief has lived. Let it reach corners where silence settled too long. Let it become the new normal, the natural response. Let it rise above the sound of worry. Let it replace the internal noise with steady reverence. Let it move through me like breath, like wind, like a river not easily stopped. And when I feel resistance, when the weight of fear tries to hold me back, let worship be the thing that keeps me moving. Let it be my rebellion against despair. Let it be the crack in the wall that lets light pour in. Let it be my yes when everything else says no. Let it be my way forward, even when I do not know where I am going. You are worthy, even when I do not understand. You are holy, even when I do not feel whole. You are near, even when I feel alone. And for that, I will worship. For that, I will raise my voice. For that, I will remember that my song is not just mine, it is the echo of your grace, the response to your faithfulness, the evidence that I am still choosing you. So I lift up praise not as background noise, but as my banner. I declare that this day will be filled with worship, not worry, with praise, not panic, with songs, not silence. I sing because it reminds me who I am. I sing because it reminds me who you are. I sing because even in the storm, the melody still lives, and it is enough to carry me through. Lord, even as the song still echoes in my chest, I feel the stillness that often follows, the quiet after praise, the space where you do not always speak loudly, but where I am called to listen anyway. It is here, in this waiting, that my heart is tested the most, not in the storm, not in the sorrow, but in the silence. And yet, you are still here. You have not left. You are the God who waits with me. I am learning that worship is not always movement. Sometimes it is staying. Sometimes it is not rushing to the next breakthrough, but remaining rooted even when there is no visible change. You never asked me to hurry. You never demanded speed. You only asked for surrender. And so, this morning, I surrender again, not to the outcome, but to the process. Waiting does not mean weakness, and patience is not passive. It is fierce. It is choosing to trust when there is no sign. It is choosing to remain soft while the answers are still hard to find. It is letting hope survive even when I do not see the harvest. It is refusing to wilt while the rain delays. God, I confess how difficult this is for me. I am drawn to movement, addicted to progress. I want to feel like I am getting somewhere. I want to mark my days with evidence. But what if growth is happening beneath the surface? What if the deepest transformation does not show itself right away? Help me believe that what you are doing in silence is not nothing. Help me trust that slow is not stagnant. Let my soul become like a seed buried, unseen, but full of life. Let it rest in the soil of your promise, even when the dark feels endless. Let it absorb your presence in quiet ways, without demand or display. Let my roots go deep while the surface stays still. Teach me not to fear this hidden season. When others move ahead, let me not compare. When doors open for them, let me not assume mine are closed forever. When their joy seems loud and mine is a whisper, remind me that you are writing my story at a pace that matches my soul, that nothing good is ever wasted, that no moment is idle in your hands. I do not want to rush what you are making sacred. I do not want to abandon what you are still shaping. So let me stay here, not in panic, but in peace. Let me wait with open hands. Let me rest without resignation. Let me expect, not demand. Let me hope, not control. You are never late, not by a minute. And even when I cannot see the clock you are watching, I can trust that it is not broken. You move in rhythms, not in rushes. You guide by seasons, not stress. So I choose to sink my soul to yours, to breathe in step with heaven's heartbeat, not the drum of this world's pressure. If this is the season of stillness, then let it be full. If this is the season of preparation, then let me receive it as gift, not punishment. If this is the moment between what was and what will be, let me not miss the holy that exists here, in the middle. Let me see your fingerprints in the waiting. Let me find beauty in the unfinished. Let me treasure the quiet where you whisper the deepest truths. You are not only the God of arrival, you are the God of every step before it. You are here just as much in the pause as you are in the promise. And so I will not wither. I will not lose heart. I will not let anxiety rewrite my story. I will let hope take root, even if it grows slow. I will water it with gratitude, nourish it with prayer, guard it with faith. I will speak life to what still sleeps beneath the surface. I will no longer ask, how much longer, but instead say, what are you doing in me here? I will stop measuring progress by what I can see and begin trusting the progress you are making in me. I will be faithful in the waiting because you are faithful in the silence. Teach me how to wait with wonder, not worry, how to sit with hope, not haste, how to remain expectant without growing bitter. I do not want to miss the hidden treasures you place in these in-between spaces. I do not want to rush past the refining fire. I want to come through it radiant, not restless. Let this morning be marked not by striving, but by stillness that breathes with trust. Let my thoughts slow. Let my spirit lean back into your embrace. Let my hands release what they have been gripping too tightly. Let my eyes soften from scanning the horizon, and instead see you here. Close. Enough. Even when the answers delay, your presence does not. Even when the path is dim, your light is near. Even when the doors are not yet open, your hand is still upon me, and that is enough. That is always enough. You are not a God who forgets. You are not distracted or distant. You are working even now, building, shaping, aligning, preparing. And so I will not rush your process. I will not despise the days that feel small. I will not shame the pace of my becoming. There is strength in the slow. There is grace in the quiet. There is faith in the pause. And I choose all of it today. I choose to believe that what looks like waiting is actually becoming. That what feels like delay is divine timing. That what appears like silence is saturated with purpose. So let me rest here not with empty hands, but with full trust, not with despair, but with deep peace. Let me speak softly to myself on the days that stretch long. Let me remind my soul that it is not forgotten. Let me rejoice in what you are doing, even when it is invisible. I do not want to miss the miracle, just because it does not move fast. I do not want to abandon the journey, just because the scenery has not changed. I do not want to curse the soil where you are planting something eternal. I want to bloom in your time, not mine, and so I remain. Rooted, ready, at rest, and still believing that what you have begun, you will finish in beauty. God, in the hush of this morning, when the world is still half asleep and my heart is learning how to breathe again, I come to you. I come with hands not clenched in anger, but trembling with what they still carry. You see them. You see the remnants of things I was never meant to hold. Regrets like shards in my palms, expectations that grew too heavy, dreams that never blossomed into life. I have carried them for so long that letting go feels unnatural, like forgetting how to walk after years of limping. And yet, I sense you calling me forward, not to discard my story, but to surrender the illusion of control. Lord, this is hard, because letting go feels like losing. It feels like giving up. But what if it is not defeat? What if surrender is the doorway to peace? And what I see as loss is actually the beginning of restoration. Teach me, Father, to trust that you are not asking me to throw away what is sacred, but to place it into your hands where it can finally be transformed. I confess that I have clung to people who no longer walk beside me, held on to moments that belonged to yesterday, and replayed conversations that cannot be undone. I have tried to rewrite what has already been written, as though my striving could change the ink. But I am weary, Lord. I am tired of rewriting endings that are not mine to author. Help me release them not because they did not matter, because they matter too much to be misshelled. Let my heart no longer hoard what hinders it from breathing freely in your presence. God, you are not the God of forcing and fear. You are the God of open hands and gentle invitations. You never coerce the heart. You woo it. And here you are again, wooing mine, whispering that to let go is not to become empty, but to make space for what is real, lasting, and new. If I dare to loosen my grip on what I thought was essential, will you not surprise me with abundance I never imagined? Will you not prove that grace is not something I earn by holding it all together? I think of the seed, buried in darkness, having to die before it can bloom. That feels like me, like something within must fall apart to rise whole. And so, God, I hand you the fragments. I hand you the timelines I tried to control, the relationships I idolized, the outcomes I could not force. I hand you my need to be right, to be strong, to be enough on my own. I hand you even the fear of handing it over. And I ask that you meet me in this trembling. Replace the clinging with courage, not the loud, visible kind, but the quiet kind that whispers, I trust you in the middle of uncertainty. Let this courage grow not from pride, but from proximity to you. Let it be rooted in the truth that I was never meant to carry the weight of the world. It was never mine to bear. Only you are strong enough for that. And maybe that is the miracle of this morning, that my strength is not in holding on, but in giving up what was never mine to keep. Maybe healing begins not with addition, but with subtraction of burdens, guilt, unforgiveness, and shame. You peel back the layers not to expose me, but to set me free. Freedom is not loud. Sometimes it is the soft sound of unclenching fingers. Lord, help me make peace with the unknown. Help me believe that letting go does not mean I am lost. It means I am finally found. Found in the space where your plans can breathe, where your love can enter without competition from my striving. Found in the lightness that comes when I no longer have pretend to be my own savior. Let this be the day I stop dragging yesterday into tomorrow. Let this be the moment when trust finally wins. So I breathe now, deeply, not the shallow breath of one who fears what comes next, but the deep inhale of someone releasing what was never hers to fix. I lay it all down. Father, you know what it is. You have seen me hiding it behind smiles and distractions. You have watched me try to manage it on my own. But now I hand it over not with bitterness, not with finality, but with hope. Hope that you are making something new from the ashes. Let my heart no longer measure safety by control, but by nearness to you. Let me see that the safest place is not the one where I have all the answers, but the one where I am fully known and fully loved by you. That is the kind of surrender I long for, not passive, but purposeful, not weak, but wise, a letting go that leads not to emptiness, but to overflow. And even as I say these words, my soul feels lighter, not because circumstances have changed, but because my perspective has. You are with me. You are for me. And that is enough. So I want to grip the past like it defines me. I want to hold my failures as if they prophesy my future. I want to chase control like it is my comfort. Instead, I will open my hands, not just physically but spiritually. I will open them to possibility, to healing, to the unknown that you call holy. May this morning be my turning point, not the loud kind that others notice, but the quiet kind that eternity recognizes. The kind where heaven leans because a heart dared to trust again. You see me, God, not for what I have lost, but for who I am becoming. And who I am becoming looks more like peace, more like grace, more like you. So I walk forward. Not faster, not stronger, but freer. And in that freedom, I find a joy that can't be shaken. A joy not dependent on getting what I want, but on being held by the one who knows what I need. Let this be my worship today, not a song, not a sermon, but a soul that lets go and trusts you with all that remains. Lord, in the hush of this morning hour, when the world outside is just beginning to stir, and the shadows of the night are fading, I come to you seeking the kind of quiet only you can provide. The kind that does not come from silence alone, but from being held in the calm of your presence. The kind that stills the racing thoughts and hushes the fears that try to anchor themselves in my chest. Just as you quieted the winds and waves with a word, I ask you to speak peace over the turmoil that sometimes churns within me. The battles I fight in my mind, the pressures I carry in my body, the uncertainty that clings to my heart, all of it, I lay at your feet, trusting you will not only lift it, but replace it with strength that comes from stillness. You taught us that stillness is not inactivity, but a form of trust. When I choose to be still, I am saying I believe you are working even when I am not moving. I am saying I believe in your timing over my need to control. I am declaring that I am not alone in what I face. In fact, I was never meant to carry it alone. The illusion of control has exhausted me. Lord, the constant striving to fix, to manage, to protect, to anticipate it wears down my soul until I forget how to rest in you. But now, even in this moment, I sense the invitation to lean back into your grace, to unclench my fists, and to breathe in your peace. I accept that invitation. There is so much noise around me, God. News alerts, demands, messages waiting for replies, decisions needing answers. Sometimes the noise is external, and sometimes it is the echo of my own anxious thoughts, looping on repeat. But you are not a God who shouts over the claimer. You whisper in the quiet. You wait in the pause. And that is where I want to meet you, in the sacred quiet, the space between what I fear and what I believe, the still place where you are already present. Teach me to retreat, not in defeat, but in wisdom. To pause, not because I am failing, but because you are filling. When the world tells me that strength looks like hustle and relentless movement, remind me that Jesus withdrew often to be alone with you. He did not rush. He was not led by pressure. He moved with purpose but found renewal in solitude. I want to follow that example. Father, I want to give myself permission to stop for a moment, not to escape my responsibilities, but to return to them rooted in peace and strength. Remind me that stepping back does not mean I am losing momentum. It means I am gaining clarity. The power I need today will not come from my to-do list, but from the time I have spent resting in you. Some mornings, stillness feels uncomfortable, like I am doing nothing, like I am wasting time. But you are showing me that this time with you is never wasted. It is where I regain vision. It is where I remember who I am and whose I am. It is where I stop performing and start receiving. It is where I hear the truth louder than the lies. In the stillness, you reintroduce me to myself, the me you designed, the me you delight in, the me who is more than enough, because you are more than sufficient. And that identity is what strengthens me, not the opinions of others or the expectations I place on my own shoulders. God, I need your stillness to seep into the deepest parts of me, into the places where I am holding tension I can name, into the thoughts I have rehearsed so long they have become my default, into the lies I did not even realize I had accepted as truth. Touch those places with your peace. Let it move through my muscles and nerves like warmth from a sunrise, softening the places that have gone rigid from too much fear or too much trying. Let it renew me from the inside out so I can face today, not in panic, but in peace. I want to walk into this day anchored, Lord, not tossed by every unexpected thing, not easily rattled by small frustrations or sudden detours. Anchor me in the truth of who you are. You are steady. You are near. You are never caught off guard. You are not in a rush. And you are not overwhelmed. Because you live in me, I can share in that steadiness. I can borrow your calm. I can mirror your rhythm. Teach me to walk slower if it means walking closer with you. I would rather move with intention than rush without direction. So many things may not go the way I hope today. Conversations may not unfold as I planned. Interruptions may come. My emotions may flare. But I can return to stillness at any moment. Because you are always there, waiting in the silence. That stillness is my sanctuary. It is where you and I meet without noise, without expectation, without the weight of doing, just being, just breathing, just knowing I am loved. You do not require my perfection. Father, you ask for my presence. You meet me in the quiet, not after I have performed or proved anything, but simply because I came. That changes everything. I do not need to earn rest. I do not need to fight for peace. You give it freely when I let go of control. You hold out stillness as a gift, not a reward, and all I need to do is receive it. In the stillness, I find strength not of my own making, but drawn from your infinite supply. Strength that is rooted in surrender, strength that rises from rest, strength that is soft, but unshakable. And when I move from that place of stillness, I move differently. I speak more gently. I listen more deeply. I respond instead of react. I carry peace with me like a lantern that lights the path, not only for me, but for those around me. This is the kind of strength I need, not loud, not showy, but anchored, steady, quietly powerful. Let me carry that into every room today. Let others feel it before I speak a word. Let your presence be the atmosphere I bring with me. And when the noise gets loud again, remind me that I can return to you. Return to this moment. Return to stillness, over and over again, as many times as I need. Because you never grow tired of meeting me here, God. As the echoes of courage begin to settle in my spirit, and the lessons of surrender still whisper through the corners of my heart, I realize how deeply every step is cradled in grace. Yesterday's burdens may still weigh heavy, and tomorrow's unknowns may stir worry. But in this present moment, the air is ripe with a truth I so often overlook. The simple act of giving thanks, of acknowledging your hand in the tapestry of my life, can unlock peace in the midst of uncertainty. So I come before you today, not with more requests or confessions, but with a heart bent toward gratitude, eager to unwrap the quiet power it carries. Thank you for the breath I draw at this very moment, unearned yet abundant. It is so easy to rush past the ordinary, to treat the morning light, the rhythm of my heart, the sound of a loved one's voice, as givens instead of gifts. But they are not guaranteed. They are tokens of your mercy and kindness, freely poured out with no strings attached. And even when my path feels narrow and my feet stumble, you meet me with reminders that life itself is a miracle unfolding in real time. Lord, there is a sacredness in choosing to notice when I open my eyes and truly see the blue of the sky, the way the trees dance in the breeze, the laughter that spills from children's mouths. I find you there. These simple things declare your presence in the details. The practice of gratitude becomes more than words. It becomes a posture of remembrance, a lens through which even the most painful chapters of my story can be reinterpreted as places where you were gently leading me through. Sometimes it is hard to be thankful, especially when life cuts deep. Disappointment can wrap its fingers around my voice and make praise feel foreign. But even in those moments, there is always something to cling to. A lesson, a person who stayed, a moment of unexpected stillness, a song that reached me when no sermon could. Even grief, when held with reverence, can unveil how deeply I was allowed to love. And for that, I thank you. Help me to see with spiritual eyes, to recognize the blessings that disguise themselves in daily routine or hardship. Help me to remember that gratitude is not an escape from pain, but a companion to it, a way of choosing to focus on what remains rather than what was lost. It is a discipline, not an emotion, a decision to look again and say, even here, even now, there is goodness still. Today, I want to thank you for the times you said, no, those moments that frustrated my desires but protected my soul, for closed doors that rerouted me to better paths, for silence that stretched my faith, for endings that made space for beginnings I never would have chosen. These are the hidden mercies, often seen only in hindsight, but precious nonetheless. I trust you more deeply because of them. Thank you for people who show up, for kindness that catches me off guard, for laughter that breaks tension like light splitting through a storm, for tears that cleanse, for meals that nourish, for words that heal wounds I did not know I was still carrying. You have planted so many reminders of your love in the middle of my ordinary days. Forgive me for when I forget to notice them. God, may I never become numb to beauty. May I never be too distracted to see the miracle of another sunrise or the wonder in a child's question. Help me live aware. Live awake. Gratitude opens my heart like a window flung wide to the wind, and through it, I feel you breathing life back into places I thought were barren. Where I once saw routine, I now glimpse revelation. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like to meet someone who had never experienced sunlight, and to watch them witness dawn for the first time. Would they tremble at the way the world changes color? Would they marvel at how darkness always gives way to gold? That is how I want to live each day, with the wonder of a soul seeing you clearly in all things for the first time. Make me a person whose life radiates thankfulness, not only in spoken words, but in how I treat others, how I listen, how I give. Gratitude transforms not just my perspective, but my posture. It turns entitlement into appreciation, anxiety into awareness, bitterness into blessing. It is not just something I offer you. It is something you use to heal me from the inside out. Thank you for the unseen protection, the accidents avoided, the temptations diverted, the dangers I will never know about because you stood between me and harm. Thank you for the resilience you have planted in me, for the quiet ways you have taught me to rise again after every fall. These are not small things. These are your fingerprints. Let my heart become fluent in thankfulness, not only when life is kind, but especially when it is not. To be grateful when dreams come true is natural. To be grateful in the waiting, in the suffering, in the confusion that is holy. That is where the deep work of trust is formed. You are not just God of the harvest, but also of the barren seasons. And for that too, I give thanks. Help me carry this spirit of gratitude into every conversation, every task, every interruption. Let me be the kind of person who infuses the room with appreciation rather than complaint. The kind who sees the person behind the action, the heart behind the help. The kind who says thank you out loud, even when it costs nothing, because it is worth everything. And when I feel tempted to compare my journey, my blessings, my timeline remind me that you are the author of each story, and that mine is sacred in its own way. Comparison steals gratitude, but contentment breathes life into it. I do not need to have everything to give thanks. I only need eyes to see what I do have and a heart willing to acknowledge it. So let this morning be marked not by striving or complaint, but by quiet reverence. Let me rise with praise on my tongue, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. Let me choose to dwell on the gifts, not the gaps. Let me sing over what is, rather than mourn over what is not. Gratitude is the soil where peace takes root and grows strong. Even if this day brings challenge, even if answers do not arrive, even if the world seems heavy, help me return to this place, to the posture of thanks, to the rhythm of grace, to the song of remembering your goodness. For in this act of gratitude, I find my strength, my clarity, and my quiet joy. Lord, in the hush of this morning, as the light begins to press through the veil of darkness, my heart still echoes with yesterday's surrender. And in that quiet surrender, something tender stirs an invitation not just to let go, but to begin again. It feels fragile. This first breath of hope, like the soft crack of new growth, pushing through cold earth. And yet I sense you there in it. You are not only the God who comforts the brokenhearted, but the God who dares us to dream again, to rise again, to love again, even after the loss, even after the failure. I stand at the edge of something unfamiliar. Father, not because the world has changed overnight, but because something inside me is shifting. The courage to begin again does not come with banners or trumpets. It arrives quietly, like dew settling on grass, soaking into the places within me that had long dried up. You remind me that courage is not the absence of pain or fear. It is the gentle but firm hand of trust reaching forward into a future that is still unformed. And in this early hour, when the day has not yet made its demands, I place that trust in you. There are pieces of my story I had buried, chapters I vowed never to reopen. But even now, I feel you nudging me to see them differently, not as evidence of failure, but as soil that once held the seed of something sacred. Perhaps, Lord, those old wounds are not signs of defeat, but the very places you long to bring resurrection. I want to believe that you are the author who never abandons a sentence halfway through, the potter who does not discard the clay when it crumbles in his hands. There are days when I still carry the ache of what was lost, dreams that collapsed under the weight of disappointment, relationships that faded, efforts that led to closed doors. It is tempting to stay still, to wrap myself in the comfort of the familiar, even if the familiar is a prison. But you whisper differently. You call me not to strive, but to step, not to rush, but to begin. Just begin. And so here I am, Lord, asking not for a map, but for a next step. Just one. Illuminate the path in front of me, even if it is only enough for today. Help me resist the temptation to sprint ahead, or to write the ending before the story has even restarted. Help me to be faithful with small beginnings, with awkward prayers, with tentative choices, with mornings like this, ordinary yet holy, where courage does not roar, but breathes. You know my hesitations, God. You see the voices that crowd my thoughts, the ones that mock my efforts and question my strength. You see how I replay the scenes where I failed, where I gave up too soon, where I trusted too much or not enough. And yet you are not accusing. You are not keeping score. You are simply asking me to trust you more than I trust the echoes of regret. I want to start again, Father, not just in action, but in heart. I want to reimagine what is possible when I follow you, not my fears. I want to believe that beginnings do not require perfection, only presence. And you are already here, not at the finish line, waiting to judge my performance, but beside me now, in the raw, trembling moments of starting over. There is a sacredness in this first step, even if it feels insignificant, even if it is just a prayer whispered through tears, even if it is choosing kindness when bitterness feels easier, even if it is lifting my eyes when shame tries to pull them downward. There is power in small obediences, because you honor every act of faith, no matter how quiet. Lord, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for seeing the potential within me, not just the brokenness. Thank you for rewriting the stories I thought were finished. You are the God who turns mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, closed doors into redirections. And I need that truth etched deeply into my soul today. Let this morning be a marker, not of what I have accomplished, but of what I have decided, that I will not be defined by what fell apart, but by the grace that invites me to rise. That I will not bow to fear, but yield to your love that casts out fear. That I will not remain buried beneath the rubble of yesterday, but will reach for the light breaking over the horizon. Help me to forgive myself, Lord, not because I deserve it, but because you have already offered it. Let forgiveness be the soil where new beginnings take root. Let mercy soften the ground of my heart, so that something alive can grow again. Something deeper. Something truer. When I doubt my strength, remind me that your strength is made perfect in weakness. When I am tempted to look back, remind me of Lot's wife, and help me to keep my gaze forward, fixed not on what might have been, but on what you are still doing. When I feel alone, send reminders, whether in scripture, in a song, in the smile of a stranger, that I am held, known, and never forsaken. I do not know what beginning again will look like. I do not know how long it will take or what it will cost. But I know this: beginning again with you is never wasted. It is never too late. It is never beneath your attention. It is never outside your mercy. Today, Lord, I return to the garden of my heart with hands open. I offer you the dry soil, the scattered seeds, the withered leaves of what was. I trust that you are the gardener who sees beyond the surface, who knows what still lives beneath. Breathe upon it. Water it with your promises. Let new life burst forth, not in fanfare, but in faith. And even when progress is slow, even when the ground feels hard, remind me that you are patient, that growth is not always visible, that roots form before fruit appears, that beginnings often feel like endings dressed in hope. Thank you for staying through the silence, through the fear, through the failed attempts and the cautious starts. Thank you for being the God who begins again with me, not once, but daily. Not conditionally, but faithfully. This morning, I do not rise as someone who has all the answers. I rise simply as someone who has said yes to trying again, to loving again, to hoping again, to believing that no story is too broken for redemption, no heart too worn for restoration, no beginning too small to matter. You are the God of new beginnings, not only in springtime, but in all seasons. And this, Lord, is my season to begin again, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. And that is enough. That is always enough, Lord, as the sun rises once more across the edge of the horizon, painting the world in a soft, golden hue. My soul awakens not only to light, but to a quiet yearning, a desire to begin again. In the silence that follows yesterday's echoes, I sense you inviting me into something new, not because I have perfected what came before, but because your grace declares it possible. The memory of failures, regrets, and roads left untraveled still lingers. But today, in your presence, I feel the breath of a second chance. I used to think courage meant never falling. Now I see it means standing up once more, brushing off the dust, and stepping forward despite the weight of what was. And so I come to you, not as someone fearless, but as someone willing to let you write a new page. Even if my hands still tremble from the last chapter, I carry with me scars, some seen, others hidden, but I no longer see them as shameful. I see them as stories you are redeeming, pieces of my humanity you never discarded. Teach me, Lord, to release the illusion that my beginning must be grand, that I need certainty before obedience, that I must first fix everything before I move. Show me instead the strength in small starts, in whispered yeses, in one obedient step at a time. You never demanded perfection to begin. Only trust. Only surrender. And today, I offer you both, not because I am confident in myself, but because I am convinced of your faithfulness. You are the God of beginnings, not just once, but again and again. The one who sees the end from the start and still invites us into the process. You renew what is broken. You breathe life where hope has gone dry. You resurrect dreams that have laid dormant beneath the soil of disappointment. I know now that nothing is too lost for you, no life too tangled, no plan too derailed in your hands. The end of something is often the doorway to something greater. I confess, Father, that I have feared beginning again, not because I doubt you, but because I doubt myself. I have questioned if I am strong enough, faithful enough, worthy enough. But you do not call the equipped. You equip the called. You do not ask me to bring answers, only willingness. I am reminded of Moses, stammering in the desert, and yet you chose him. Of Ruth, who left everything behind for something she could not yet see. Of Peter, who failed and yet was restored, over and over. You show me that beginnings are often born out of brokenness, and that is where you do your most intimate work. Help me see today not as a burden, but as an invitation, not a continuation of regret, but the first step in a different direction. Let me breathe deeply into the morning, aware that each moment carries the seed of transformation. Let me see that in every again, there is potential, not just to return, but to return deeper, to return wiser, to return more rooted in you. I lift to you the dreams I set down out of fear, the relationships I gave up on, The disciplines I once held with joy, but have since allowed to fade. I lift to you the callings I once felt stir in my spirit, now buried beneath layers of practicality or pain. If you are calling me to pick them up again, give me the strength to do so, not from striving, but from abiding in you. Let me begin not with a shout, but with a whisper of obedience. May I not despise small beginnings, for you often birth the greatest movements from mustard seeds. May I not measure my progress by human standards, but by faithfulness to your voice. Even when results are not immediate, even when others cannot yet see the fruit, let me remain steadfast, trusting that you who began a good work in me will be faithful to complete it. Let this new beginning not be about proving anything to myself, to others, or even to you. Let it be about surrender, about joy, about partnership with the God who makes all things new. Whether I begin with trembling hands or a steady heart, remind me that beginning again is not weakness, it is worship. It is trust in motion. And Lord, as I walk into this new beginning, surround me with reminders of your presence. Let the wind through the trees speak of your nearness. Let the warmth of the sun remind me of your embrace. Let the sound of birdsong echo the invitation of renewal. Let nature itself preach the gospel of resurrection, that what once lay dormant can bloom again. Let me not rush. Let me not compare. Let me not carry yesterday's weight into today's journey. Instead, let me walk light, with hands open and eyes lifted. Let me walk in rhythm with grace, not guilt, in step with your spirit, not the pressure of performance. Let this beginning be born not of desperation, but of quiet trust that you are with me, that you are for me, that you delight in new beginnings as much as I need them. God, thank you for not giving up on me, for not defining me by where I have failed, but by who I am becoming in you, for seeing potential where I see mess, for calling me forward even when I hesitate, for whispering again and again that your mercies are new each morning, not recycled, not reduced, but new. So I step forward, perhaps slowly, perhaps unsure, but I step into whatever this day may hold, into whatever you may call me to, and as I do, I ask for one thing, that I would remain rooted in your love, that whether the path is smooth or steep, I would not look back with regret or ahead with anxiety, but walk now, fully present, fully yours, because in you, the courage to begin again is always available and always worth it. Lord, in this sacred pause of morning stillness, as the dew clings to each blade of grass and silence blankets the world before it awakens, I lean into the quiet you provide. My soul, having journeyed through surrender, renewal, and rediscovery, now finds itself at the threshold of stillness, not as absence, but as presence. You have shown me that not all battles require action, and not all progress is marked by movement. Sometimes, the greatest strength is in remaining still when everything within cries out to run, fix, or fight. This quiet does not echo with emptiness, but vibrates with your presence. You are not absent in the silence, but profoundly near. When the noise of the world fades, I hear your whisper not in thunder, not in fire, but in the gentle breeze brushing against the walls of my heart. Here, in this holy hush, I find clarity. I find you. I remember the words of the psalmist. Be still, and know that I am God, and I take them not as suggestion, but as invitation to cease striving, to let go of my impulse to control, to lean back into the arms of the one who holds time, space, and every breath I take. God, I confess how difficult it is to be still. Stillness demands trust. Trust that you are at work even when I cannot see. Trust that your timing is not delayed, but deliberate. Trust that what appears stagnant is often sacred preparation beneath the surface. And so I ask you for strength, not the kind that charges ahead with loud declarations, but the kind that sits with questions without rushing for answers. The strength to wait, the strength to listen, the strength to rest in you. When my mind races ahead, dragging my heart with it, help me resist the urge to fix everything prematurely. Teach me to discern the difference between apathy and surrender, between avoidance and stillness. Show me that being still is not passive, but profoundly active in its faith. It is an act of war against anxiety, a statement of belief that you are sovereign even when I do nothing at all. Let my stillness declare that you are enough even when my hands are empty and my plans unravel. There is a rhythm to grace that moves slower than my impatience wants, yet swifter than fear expects. Help me fall into that rhythm, Lord. Let my heart beat in time with yours. Let my breaths synchronize with heaven. And in the waiting room of your will, where doors remain closed and answers feel delayed, let me worship you not for what you will do, but for who you are, unchanging, faithful, near, God. When I see others rushing ahead, celebrating breakthroughs while I remain in pause, protect me from comparison, silence the voice that tells me I am behind. I am not behind when I walk with you. I am not late when I listen for your timing. I am not stuck when I am surrendered. Remind me that you see beyond the horizon and prepare the path before I ever set foot upon it. My stillness is not delay, is devotion. It is deep alignment with your spirit. Even when everything around me screams for motion, teach me to find the sacred in the slow, in the long morning light, in the quiet cup of coffee, in the unhurried conversation with you. Let me remember that the strength to be still is not weakness. It is resistance against the tyranny of urgency. It is a sanctuary in the wilderness. It is the stance of someone who trusts their shepherd more than they trust their own sense of direction. You have not called me to outrun my peace. You have not asked me to carry burdens you never placed on my shoulders. You simply ask me to follow. And sometimes, following looks like standing still, waiting at the river's edge while you part the waters, sitting by the tomb until you call forth life, staying in the boat while you quiet the storm with a word. You, Lord, are not in a hurry, and so I will not be either. Not today. If this stillness stretches beyond comfort, I will not panic. I will remember how you work in the unseen like seeds taking root in darkness before they break through into light. Let my trust deepen like roots in winter, invisible but essential. Let my worship rise like incense, slowly and steadily, no longer fueled by emotion, but by conviction. Let me become like a tree planted by streams of water, not moving, yet always nourished. Lord, I release the need to prove myself. I release the pressure to be constantly productive. I release the fear that I am missing out. Instead, I embrace this sacred stillness as your gift to me. I wrap myself in its quiet wisdom. I let it cleanse me of haste, of hurry, of pride. I slow down not because I have failed, but because you have called me into rest. I will not resist this invitation. I will sit with it, walk slowly with it. Let it change me from the inside out. And in this stillness, I remember that you are not only the God of action, but the God of presence. You are not only found in victory, but in vigil, not only in movement, but in mystery. Let my heart become your resting place. Let this pause become the prelude to deeper purpose. Let me move again, but only when you lead. Until then, I will wait, I will trust, I will breathe, I will be still, for you are God, God. As I rise from the stillness where your presence met me in quiet strength, I carry with me not the certainty of all things answered, but the peace of things entrusted. You have taught me that stillness is not a resolution to every storm, but a surrender within it. Yet now, in the soft light of this new morning, I find myself face to face with questions that remain unresolved. They sit quietly beside me not as enemies, but as companions in the journey of faith. And I ask you, Lord, for the grace to hold them well. Not every prayer I have whispered has returned with clarity. Not every longing has met fulfillment. Not every loss has come with an explanation. And still, I return to you, not demanding answers, but desiring your nearness. Because more than I long for understanding, I long for you. There is something holy in the H of unanswered things, a space where trust grows roots, not in what is explained, but in who you are when nothing makes sense. Father, I bring to you the weight of what I do not know, the whys that linger in the silence, the how longs that echo in my waiting, the what ifs that stir when I close my eyes. I lay them gently before you, asking not that you erase them, but that you help me carry them with open hands. Let them not become walls between us, but windows through which I look up and find you still faithful. Still sovereign, still writing stories I cannot yet read. There is a quiet dignity in questions, not rush toward answers. A sacred rhythm in walking with mystery and choosing not to panic when clarity is withheld. You are not absent when you are silent. You are not cruel when you delay. You are not distant when you do not explain. You are God, and that alone is enough. If I knew all, I would no longer need trust. But you, in wisdom, withhold so that I might grow not only in knowledge, but in the grace of unknowing. Teach me to let my soul breathe in the midst of uncertainty, to stop chasing explanations like they are the source of my peace. Let my heart become acquainted with holy ambiguity, the kind that does not demand, but waits with reverence. Help me resist the urge to define what is still unfolding, to label what you are still forming. Let me live the questions faithfully, trusting that you dwell even in the shadows they cast. Lord, when others around me seem to walk in clarity while I remain in mystery. Guard me from bitterness. Let me celebrate their breakthroughs without resenting my pause. Let me not compare the timelines of my faith with the pages of someone else's story. You are personal. You are intimate. You write with precision even when I cannot see the ink upon the page. Let me rest in the reality that you are working even when I feel left without answers. Remind me that even Jesus, in his humanity, asked why, that in the garden and upon the cross, he too cried out into the silence, and you did not turn away. You did not shame him for asking. You were present even in the pain of divine mystery. If he, in perfection, could ask and trust, then I too can bring my uncertainty to you without fear of rejection. Let that truth settle deep within me. Some answers may come in time, unfolding gently like petals in spring. Others may wait for the light of eternity to reveal their shape. But until then, give me the grace to live well in the tension, to worship you not only for what I understand, but for what I do not. Let my faith mature beyond formulas into fellowship, where you are not my explanation, but my anchor. God, I do not ask you to take away the questions. I ask you to make me strong enough to hold them without losing joy. Let wonder live where worry once dwelled. Let hope take the seat once reserved for fear. Let love speak louder than logic. If I must walk with unanswered things, let me walk beside you. That is answer enough. When I feel tempted to demand, help me to choose dialogue instead. When I want control, teach me to lean on communion. When the silence grows loud, remind me that you speak in whispers, and I must come close to hear. Make me more attentive to your presence than obsessed with solutions. Make me a person of peace, even in the presence of the unknown. Lord, thank you for not requiring me to have it all figured out, for giving me space to question, to wrestle, to wonder, for not calling me weak when I do not understand, but calling me beloved. Thank you that my questions do not disqualify me from your love, they draw me deeper into it. Thank you for being a God who is not afraid of the dark, who sits with me in the uncertainty, who loves me right through the doubt and the silence. Let my unanswered questions become sacred ground, where your grace meets my humanity. Let them no longer intimidate me, but invite me. Not every prayer must be a petition for clarity. Sometimes the greatest prayer is simply this: stay with me, God, while I wait to see. Walk with me while I do not know. Be my portion when answers fail to come, and you will be. Let today be a day not of conclusions, but of communion. Let it be a day where peace does not come from knowing everything, but from being fully known. Let me look at my questions and see not a lack of faith, but the path of it, the place where trust is tested and matured, where roots dig deep, where love grows real, and where, even without answers, I can say, I am not alone, for you are here, Lord. You have met me in my waiting. You have sat beside me in silence and taught me how to rest among questions. And now, as the morning breaks a little brighter, I begin to see what has survived the night. Some dreams may have faded. Some plans may have crumbled. But something remains, and in that, I feel your breath, What I carry now may look different from what I once imagined, yet it is still sacred, still mine, still entrusted by you. You are not only the God who gives, but the one who sustains. When the weight of life grows heavier than expected, you do not command me to lift it alone. You come close. You shoulder the burden with me. You remind me that I was never meant to be strong in isolation, but strong in you. There is no shame in feeling tired, no weakness in needing help. You created me to depend, not merely to endure. And in that design is freedom, not failure. Father, let me carry what remains with dignity. Let me not despise what is left just because it is smaller or quieter or bruised. Let me see the beauty in remnants the way you make more from less, the way you multiply what is surrendered. Help me resist the lie that says it must be grand to be good. Let me value what is authentic over what is impressive. Let me move forward, not in the shadow of what was lost, but in the light of what still breathes in my hands. Sometimes, strength is not loud. Sometimes, it is the quiet choice to rise again, to open my heart again, to love again, even if it once broke me, to serve again, even when I feel invisible, to hope again, even when I have every excuse not to. That kind of strength, Lord, only comes from you. Breathe it into me today. Let it settle deeper than discouragement, louder than fear, steadier than circumstance. When my arms feel full of what I did not ask for, help me to see your fingerprints even there. When I carry responsibilities I did not choose, let me remember that you see every hidden effort. You honor what no one else applauds. You witness the invisible sacrifices and call them holy. In the quiet corners of my life, where no spotlight shines, you are shaping something eternal. God, I ask not only for the strength to carry what is obvious, but the unseen things as well. The emotional weight I disguise with smiles, the unspoken grief that still lingers, the doubts I do not know how to name. You know them all. You carry them with me, and in doing so, you lighten my load without removing my humanity. You make room for both strength and softness to coexist. Let me be faithful with what remains, even if it feels incomplete. Even if it feels delayed. Let me not bury it beneath regret or comparison. Let me not curse the small beginnings or the slow returns. Let me nurture what is here, even as I wait for what is coming. You waste nothing, Lord. Every tear, every detour, every broken piece, you weave them into something holy. There is a different kind of strength in surrender, not the surrender that gives up, but the one that gives over, that releases outcomes and trusts your timing, that walks forward without having to see the finish line, that believes fruit will come even from barren seasons, that holds tightly to your character when all else shifts. Strength like that cannot be conjured. It must be received. And so, I receive it. I receive the quiet courage to carry what this day asks of me. I receive the tenderness to carry others without losing myself. I receive the resilience to keep moving when momentum fails. And I receive the grace to forgive myself and others for not being stronger, faster, better. You are not measuring me against perfection. You are walking with me toward transformation. Let my strength today be marked not by performance, but by presence. Not by how much I can accomplish, but by how deeply I can abide. Not by control, but by connection. Let me stop striving to prove my worth and start living from the worth you have already declared over me. I am not defined by what I carry, but by who carries me, God. Remind me that carrying what remains is not a punishment. It is a privilege to keep going, to keep loving, to keep believing these are acts of holy resistance. Every time I show up with a scar and still choose grace, I testify to your goodness. Every time I stand when I could collapse, I proclaim your power. Every time I speak kindness into bitterness, I reveal your heart. When the day grows heavy, let my strength come not from willpower, but from wonder. Wonder at how you uphold all things. Wonder at how you see every sparrow and still hold galaxies. Wonder at how you dwell within me, making my ordinary sacred. When I pause long enough to remember this, strength rises unbidden quiet, unwavering, enough. And if I falter, if I fall beneath the weight, I will not despair, because you are not watching from a distance. You are the hand that lifts, the voice that calls, the embrace that steadies. You do not require me to carry everything perfectly, only to carry it with you. To let your spirit be the rhythm beneath my breath, the fire within my bones, the steadiness beneath my trembling. This is the strength I ask for, not to never bend, but to never break without your comfort, not to be untouched by pain, but to be anchored through it, not to be immune to fatigue, but to be refreshed from within. Let my life speak of a quiet strength that confounds the world, a strength not made of stone, but of surrender. So here I am, with hands open, carrying what is mine and releasing what is not, walking forward with what remains, knowing it is enough, because you are with me, because you go before me, because you dwell within me. That is strength beyond measure. That is mercy in motion. That is grace that does not grow weary. Father, you have walked with me through silence and strength, through the weight of what remained when so much was lost. And now, here in the stillness of this morning, something gentle stirs within me. It is not the roar of certainty, not the trumpet of triumph, but a whisper of permission to begin again. You are not just the God of restoration, you are the God of recreation, and I, shaped by your mercy, am allowed to try once more. I do not need the permission of the world to start anew. I do not need a flawless record or a clean slate that erases every failure. What I need is your grace, and you give it freely, not as a reward, but as a rhythm, not just once, but every single day. You do not tire of my returning. You do not roll your eyes when I say I want to start over. You welcome it. You bless it. You breathe into it. There is something sacred in starting again, not from naivety, but from wisdom born of scars. I do not rise today with the same assumptions as yesterday. I rise with a deeper knowing of my weakness. Yes, but more so of your patience. I rise not because I have all the answers, but because I trust in the one who walks beside me in every unknown. God, let me release the shame that clings like morning fog. Let me not confuse regret with repentance, nor brokenness with disqualification. What has been cannot be undone, but it can be redeemed. Let me stop rewriting the past and instead write with you in the present. You are not asking me to pretend it all never happened. You are asking me to let it become something new in your hands. And so, I begin again not with fanfare, but with quiet trust. I begin again in the kitchen, the office, the carpool lane. I begin again in the apologies that have waited too long and the promises I had once abandoned. I begin again not because I am strong, but because you are faithful. You meet me in the moment. I dare to believe that today could be different. There is such power in the simple act of showing up. To return to the places that once overwhelmed me, to pick up what I laid down in despair, to choose hope over resignation. You are in all of it. In the first step, the awkward middle, the weary continuation. You are the God of the long story, not just the happy ending. You treasure every effort toward healing, every turn toward light. Lord, let my heart not be held hostage by who I used to be. I am learning that growth is not linear, that sometimes I will trip on the very stones I thought I had already climbed over. Let me not see this as failure, but as part of the process. I am not the same person I was even yesterday, because you are always transforming me, even in ways I do not yet understand. Help me begin again with gentleness. Gentleness with others, yes, but gentleness with myself. To not demand perfection, but to celebrate persistence. To not expect instant fruit, but to trust slow roots. To let go of the pressure to be remarkable, and instead choose to be faithful. The small, hidden acts, the kindness no one sees, the quiet service, the internal yes, these are the seeds of eternity. There are places within me that still resist the idea of starting again. Old voices that say I have missed too many chances, broken too many things. But you silence them with one truth. Your mercies are new every morning. Not recycled, not diluted. New. For me. For this exact version of me. Not the cleaned-up version I wish I could be. The present one who still carries questions and fears. God, thank you for not expecting me to arrive with polished plans and perfect motives. You simply ask me to come, to rise with my trembling hope and say, here I am. You are not waiting for the ideal conditions. You are already at work in the mess. You are the architect of the comeback, the composer of the unexpected. You do not merely fix what is broken. You make it beautiful. Today, let me begin again in how I speak. Let my words build, not break. Let them carry compassion, not critique. Let them soften where they once stung and bring life where there was silence. Let me begin again in how I see others not as opponents or obstacles, but as sacred stories in process, just like me. Let me offer the grace I myself have received. Let me begin again in how I see you, not as a distant authority demanding flawless execution, but as a present Father who delights in every effort to trust. Let me unlearn the fear that says you are always disappointed. Let me relearn the wonder that says you are always near. You rejoice when I rise. You smile when I try. You dance over every inch of progress I thought was too small to matter. When I grow discouraged, Remind me that beginning again is not about erasing the past, but stepping into what the past has prepared me for. There is wisdom in wounds, clarity in sorrow, and tenderness in survival. You are weaving it all together, the good, the hard, the holy. You waste nothing, not even the parts I wish I could forget. And if I fail again, you will still be there, not with condemnation, but with compassion. You are not tallying my setbacks. You are watching for my return, like the father on the porch, scanning the horizon for the prodigal, like the shepherd who leaves the 99, like the friend who stays through the night. You never stop hoping for me, even when I stop hoping for myself. So I breathe deeply and begin. Again, not to earn, not to impress, but to live, to be fully present in the life you have given, even when it is messy, uncertain, or unfinished, to trust that every sunrise is a doorway to possibility, that you are already in the hours ahead, preparing moments of grace I cannot yet see. This is not a do-over. It is a resurrection, a holy continuation, a divine reimagining. You are making all things new, not all things the same, including me, especially me. And so I lean into the newness. I say yes to what I do not fully understand. I place one foot in front of the other, carrying not only what remains, but what is being born. Here, in this sacred beginning, I find you once more not as a stranger, but as a companion, not as a judge, but as a guide, not as an idea, but as a pulse in my chest that reminds me I am still alive, still becoming, still loved, still yours, Lord, you who know the depths of time and the fragile rhythm of every human breath. I come to you now not just to begin, but to continue, to remain, to stand in the space between what has been healed and what is still hurting, between the promises whispered in dawn light and the shadows that creep in before night falls. You are not only the God of beginnings, but the God who strengthens the heart to endure. It is not always the dramatic battles that wear me down. Often, it is the daily press of ordinary struggles, the quiet resistance of a weary soul trying to remain faithful when results are unseen and hope feels fragile. You see me even there. You are the God of the long road, the unseen labor, the slow unfolding. You know the weight of perseverance, and you meet me in the middle of it. Sometimes I wake not with fire, but with fatigue, not with answers, but with aching. The temptation to retreat, to run, to numb the unrest is real. Yet in that moment, you offer not condemnation, but compassion. You do not scold me for feeling weak. You invite me to lean in, to receive again the strength that does not come from willpower, but from your spirit, a strength not of striving, but of abiding. God, help me to endure not just what is hard, but what is holy, to stay present in the places where growth feels slow, to hold on to the truths you have planted, even when they have yet to bloom. I do not ask for an escape. I ask for endurance, not to avoid the wilderness, but to walk through it with unwavering trust. Let my heart not seek comfort more than it seeks communion with you. Teach me to recognize endurance as a sacred act of worship. When I choose to stay faithful, to keep showing up, to keep forgiving, to keep believing even in silence, I honor you. Endurance is not weakness disguised as delay. It is courage dressed in patience. It is hope that refuses to be extinguished. Let me not confuse stillness with stagnation. Let me not mistake waiting for wasting. In the face of discouragement, remind me that even Jesus, your Son, endured. He endured rejection, betrayal, abandonment, agony, and he did not quit. He fixed his eyes on you, and through that gaze, he overcame the grave. I follow a Savior who did not escape pain, but transformed it. And because he endured, I can too. Father, give me endurance not only for what happens to me, but for what must grow within me. Help me endure the discomfort of becoming, the stretching of character, the refining of love, the softening of pride. Let my soul not resist the gentle pressure of your hand, molding me into something deeper. Even when the work feels invisible, let me trust its worth. Sometimes the longest journey is not one I take on my feet, but the one I take within my spirit. The journey from fear to trust, from control to surrender, from self-reliance to grace. Let me not rush this inner pilgrimage. Let me not resent the slowness of sanctification. Teach me to love the process, to find you in every step, and to rejoice in the fact that I am still walking when the days blur into one another and nothing feels spectacular. Let me remember that faithfulness is often quiet, that endurance is often hidden, that true strength is often mistaken for ordinary obedience. There is no spotlight for the soul that quietly chooses goodness over resentment. But you see, you delight. You remember. Lord, let my endurance not be rooted in bitterness or obligation, but in love. Love that clings to you when logic fails. Love that endures offense without returning harm. Love that hopes all things, believes all things, endures all things because you are love. Let me be known not for my brilliance or boldness, but for my ability to remain loving when the world grows cold. In the moments when I feel alone in the fight, remind me of the cloud of witnesses who have gone before me, the prophets who spoke when no one listened, the mothers who prayed through nights of silence, the servants who gave when they had little. They endured not because they were perfect, but because they trusted you. Their stories did not end in despair, neither will mine. Help me endure not only for myself, but for those watching, for the younger ones who do not yet know how to stay, for the tired ones who are looking for proof that is worth it. Let my life be a testimony not of ease, but of faithfulness. Let my scars tell stories of perseverance, not defeat. Let those who see my endurance find courage to hold on a little longer. I do not ask to be spared from the struggle. I ask to be sustained in it, to be carried when I cannot walk, to be strengthened when I have no more words, to be found again by grace when I have wandered into weariness. You are not the God who leaves me to fend for myself. You are the God who walks beside me, whispers strength into my bones, and reminds me who I am when I have forgotten. Even in tears, let me endure. Even in silence, let me endure. Even in disappointment, let me endure. For you are my reward, not just the resolution. Your presence is my strength, not just the answer to my prayer. Let me not reduce you to a means to an end. You are the end. You are the reason I can stay, the reason I can continue, the reason I can choose faithfulness over fleeing. And if this season is longer than I hoped, if the answer takes more time than I imagined, if the breakthrough feels distant, let me endure anyway. Not because I am numb, but because I am anchored. Anchored in who you are. Anchored in what you have already done. Anchored in the cross, in the resurrection, in the unshakable love that holds me together. Let my soul not grow cynical with time. Let it grow deeper, softer, stronger. Let it mature in endurance. Let it become patient like the oak, steady like the river, rooted like the vineyard. Let me be one who lasts, who does not burn out in the heat of pressure, but who bends like wheat and still stands. One who believes that every second of perseverance is sacred. God, thank you that I do not endure alone, that even now, you are interceding for me, that your spirit groans for me when words run dry, that heaven leans near when my hands fall limp, that angels stand guard when I feel most vulnerable. You have surrounded me with strength, even when I feel surrounded by struggle. Let me find joy in endurance, not the shallow kind that fakes a smile, but the deep kind that glows even in shadows. The joy of knowing that nothing is wasted, nothing is overlooked, nothing is too small to matter. The joy that rests not in outcomes, but in intimacy. To be with you, to walk with you, to endure with you, that is joy. And when I finally look back on this stretch of the journey, may I see not just survival, but transformation, that I did not merely outlast the storm, but that I became someone different through it, someone more grounded, more gracious, more at peace, someone more like you. Father, when I look back on all the moments you have carried me through, the silent nights, the unanswered questions, the days when hope flickered but did not go out, I am overwhelmed by your grace. The journey has not always been straight or smooth, but you have never withheld yourself from me. You have been the constant when all else shifted. You were the whisper in the waiting, the light in the long shadows. And now, as I breathe in this new day, I ask not just for endurance, but for the grace to begin again. So much of life is starting over, picking up the pieces, trusting again after disappointment, standing after falling, believing again after the storm has scattered my certainty. There is a quiet kind of courage needed for this, a bravery not marked by loud declarations, but by the simple act of choosing to begin again, when it would be easier not to. And you, Lord, are the source of that courage. You are the one who breathes new life into worn-out hearts and speaks renewal where there once was regret. I confess, God, that there are days when beginning again feels exhausting. Days when shame tries to convince me I have already used up my chances. When perfectionism tells me I have failed too often to start over. But you are not keeping score. You are not tallying up my missteps or standing with folded arms waiting for me to prove myself. You are the God of open arms, the Father who meets the prodigal on the road, the shepherd who rejoices over the one who returns. You rejoice in my return more than you ever resented my wandering. You remind me that your mercies are new every morning, not recycled, not half-hearted, but new, fresh, created just for today. Not because I earned them, but because you are who you are. Faithful, kind, full of loving compassion. You are not embarrassed by my need for grace. You delight in pouring it out again and again. And so I come not as someone who has figured everything out, but as someone who has learned to depend on you more deeply. God, teach me to welcome the sacredness of new beginnings, to see each sunrise as an invitation, not an obligation, to trust that starting again is not a setback, but a sign of life, a heart still willing to hope, to risk, to change. Help me release the fear of being behind, the weight of comparison, the anxiety of not measuring up. Let me see this moment not as what I missed yesterday, but as what you are offering today. I bring to you the pieces of plans that did not unfold as I hoped, the dreams that grew quiet, the disciplines I let slip, the relationships I mishandled, the emotions I did not know how to name. Take them all, Lord, not to discard them, but to reshape them, to redeem them. You are the potter, I am the clay. Begin again in me. Fashion something more beautiful from the places that once cracked under pressure. Give me the humility to admit where I fell short, the honesty to acknowledge what must change. But more than anything, give me the confidence to believe that you are not done writing my story, that my value is not in my flawless performance, but in my willingness to return, that my worth is not erased by failure, but confirmed by your pursuit. Let your love be louder than my regret. God, give me the wisdom to begin again slowly, not in panic, not in self-punishment, with purpose, with grace, with patience for the process. Let me not rush into a flurry of activity to prove something, but instead walk quietly with you, trusting that fruit grows not in frenzy, but in faithfulness. Let each small step forward be an act of worship. As I open my hands to this new start, give me discernment to know what to carry forward and what to leave behind. Not every weight is mine to bear. Not every voice deserves my attention. Not every expectation is holy. Help me release the burdens you never asked me to carry, and hold tightly to what matters most, your voice, your presence, your peace. Let me not despise small beginnings. Let me find joy in the first step, even if it feels awkward or unglamorous. You rejoice in every movement toward healing, every whisper of repentance, every fragile seed of trust. I may not see the full harvest yet, but you do, and you never despise the seed just because it is small. You see its future already blooming. When I am tempted to define myself by what I used to be or what I failed to become, remind me that in you, I am a new creation, not a better version of an old self, but something entirely made new. You do not simply patch up the broken. You make beautiful what was once beyond repair. Your grace does not just clean up the mess, it makes meaning out of it. God, if I am to begin again, let it be with open eyes, eyes that see your fingerprints on the path behind me and trust your hand in the way ahead. eyes that look with tenderness at others who are beginning again too, and offer the same grace I have received. Let my story be a shelter, not a spotlight, a reminder that it is never too late to return. Let my new beginning be marked not by striving, but by surrender, not by loud ambition, but by quiet faith, not by proving I am strong, but by admitting that I am held. I am not starting from scratch, I am starting from love, from mercy, from the unshakable foundation of who you are, that changes everything. Even now, as I speak these words, something shifts. Shame loosens its grip. Fear begins to fall away. The heaviness of regret makes room for the lightness of renewal, not because everything is fixed, but because I have decided to begin again with you. And that decision, however simple, is holy. It is enough. God, let today be a turning point. Let it be a declaration that grace still has the final word, that failure is not fatal, that beginnings are not only for the young or the perfect or the qualified. They are for anyone humble enough to say, I still want you. I still need you. I still believe you are making all things new, including me. And if I need to begin again tomorrow, then so be it. I will come back again, not with shame, but with assurance, not with guilt, but with gratitude, because you are the kind of Father who always opens the door, who always makes space at the table, who runs to meet me not with lectures, but with love. You are the God of new mornings, new mercies, new chances. And today is one of them. I receive it. I step into it. I believe that what lies ahead is not just possible but sacred. Because you are already there. God, you are never in a hurry, and yet you are never late. That truth lingers in my heart this morning as I settle into the stillness, carrying with me the gentle momentum from yesterday's new beginning. Even as I open my hands to fresh starts, I recognize that some of your most sacred work is done in the seasons where nothing seems to move. Waiting is not what I would choose, but it is often where you choose to shape me. And so today, I do not ask to escape the wait, I ask for the strength to wait well. Waiting stretches my soul in ways nothing else can. It reveals what I truly believe, what I cling to, what I fear. In the silence, I hear the noise of my own doubts. In the pause, I feel the tension between faith and frustration. I confess that I often long to rush ahead, to fix things with my own hands, to force progress so I can feel productive. But your pace is different than mine. Your purpose is deeper than my deadlines. And so I yield to your timing, trusting that delay is not denial, and slowness is not abandonment. Lord, teach me to honor the sacredness of the in-between. Let me not despise the stillness, for it is not empty. It is filled with your presence. It is where roots go deep, where hidden things grow strong, where character is formed in quiet chambers no eye sees. What feels like waiting is often preparation. You are not withholding, you are weaving, not absent, but arranging. And in this space, you are asking me not just to be still, but to be faithful. Waiting well is not passive, it is active trust. It is choosing each day to show up with open hands and a willing heart. even when the breakthrough has not come. It is doing the next right thing, however small, and believing it matters. It is planting seeds without knowing the exact season of harvest. It is learning to delight in obedience itself, not only in the results. God, give me eyes to see this waiting season as a gift, not a punishment. Let me look beyond the delay and recognize the deeper invitation to sit with you, to hear you more clearly, to know you more intimately. You often speak in whispers, and the noise of my hurry can drown out your voice. But in the hush of waiting, your words take root, your promises become more precious, your presence becomes my reward. Let me wait with hope, not just endurance. Hope that does not depend on outcomes, but on your character. Hope that sees beyond circumstance and anchors itself in who you are. Help me resist the lie that nothing is happening just because I do not see it. So much of your work is underground, invisible for a time, but no less real. You are the God of slow miracles, the God who turns caterpillars into butterflies through dark cocoons. The God who turns a womb into a cradle of promise. The God who lets things die so they can rise. In this space between what was and what will be, guard my heart from bitterness. Let patience not feel like punishment, but like partnership with your plan. Keep me from comparing my pace to others. Each path is unique, each process sacred. Let me not envy those who seem to move faster or farther. Their story is not mine. My place is not behind it, is exactly where you have called me to be today. When I feel forgotten, remind me that you never lose sight of me. When my prayers seem unanswered, help me see that silence does not equal absence. When doubt whispers, remind me of what you have already done, how you have come through time and again. Your faithfulness in the past is the guarantee of your presence in the present and your goodness in the future. Give me strength not just to wait, but to wait with wonder, to look for glimpses of your grace even in the mundane, to see the beauty in the slow bloom, the hidden lessons in each unhurried moment. Let waiting become worship. Let longing become love. Let stillness become sacred ground where I encounter you more fully. Even as I wait, help me notice others who are waiting too. Let this season soften my heart, not harden it. Make me more compassionate, more understanding, more present with those whose prayers echo mine. Let waiting become a place of shared humanity, where empathy grows and judgment fades. Father, there are promises you have spoken over my life that I still hold in trembling hands. Dreams not yet fulfilled, desires that remain unmet, questions without answers. I bring them all to you not with clenched fists, but with surrendered trust. I do not demand an explanation, only your nearness, and that is enough. Help me resist shortcuts, the kind that bypass growth, the kind that promise quick relief, but rob me of deep transformation. Your way is often slower, but it is always safer, always fuller, always worth it. Teach me to walk with you at the speed of peace, not the pace of pressure. Let my soul be aligned not with the clock, but with your voice. And when the moment comes when the thing I have prayed for finally arrives, let me not forget the lessons learned in the waiting. Let gratitude mark my response. Let humility shape my joy. Let worship overflow, not just because the wait is over, but because I have seen your heart more clearly along the way. Today, I do not wait alone, I wait with you, and that changes everything. Father, there are mornings when the weight of yesterday presses hard against my chest, making it difficult to rise with hope. The memories of missteps, regrets too heavy to name, moments where I fell short of who I long to, they echo through my thoughts like unfinished prayers. And yet, in the quiet hush of this new day, you whisper something so startling and kind that with you, I can begin again, not in shame, but in courage, not in fear, but in trust. You are the God who specializes in restoration, who turns broken pieces into sacred beginnings. God, you know how fragile I feel when I stand at the threshold of a fresh start. Starting over can feel like admitting defeat, like acknowledging how far I have wandered. But you see it differently. You see the willingness to return as holy. You meet me, not with a list of faults, but with open arms. You are not tallying failures. You are writing redemption. You are not shaking your head in disappointment. You are lifting my chin with love. You are not waiting for me to earn my way back. You are already running toward me with grace. Sometimes the hardest thing is not trying something new, but daring to believe that what has fallen can rise again, that what has grown cold can burn bright once more, that the place of my deepest discouragement can become the soil for my greatest growth. And so, Lord, I give you my worn-out efforts, my half-built hopes, my trembling attempts to trust again. I give you the pages of my story I would rather tear out, asking instead that you rewrite them with mercy. You are not finished with me. That truth is the lifeline I cling to today. No failure is final in your hands. No detour too long. No mistake too great. Your mercy resets the compass. Your love redraws the map. Your spirit breathes courage where fear once ruled. You invite me to take the first step again, not with perfection, but with permission to grow, to learn, to be transformed. You do not ask me to pretend I have it all together. You simply ask me to come. Father, help me release the lies that have chained me to the past, lies that say I have wasted too much time, that I have missed my moment, that I am too far gone, that I will never change. You speak a different word, one rooted in hope, soaked in truth. You remind me that each sunrise carries new mercy, that what I call too late, you call right on time, that the wilderness is not the end, but often the beginning of something sacred. Teach me not to despise small restarts. Not every beginning roars like thunder. Sometimes it is the whisper of yes in the quiet. Sometimes it is standing up after falling for the 100th time. Sometimes it is choosing not to numb the pain, but to feel it and still move forward. Give me the grace to take these humble steps with boldness, knowing that you walk beside me, that I do not journey alone. God, I thank you for the resilience you have planted deep in my soul, the part of me that rises again and again, even when weary. I thank you for the courage to hope when it would be easier to quit, for the flicker of light that refuses to be snuffed out. You are the one who fans that flame. You remind me that redemption is not a single moment, but a lifelong melody you are composing with tenderness and power. Let this be the day where I choose courage over comfort, where I choose to build again, even if I have been disappointed, where I speak truth, even if my voice trembles, where I show up fully, even if I am afraid. I do not need the entire path to be clear, just enough light for this next step. And in your presence, I have that. You are the lamp for my feet, the compass for my wandering, the anchor for my soul. Lord, as I begin again, protect me from self-condemnation. Let me not replay the tapes of what I should have done. Set me free from analysis that leads only to paralysis. Instead, fill me with holy momentum, with a kind of joy that comes not from pretending life is perfect, but from knowing that even in my imperfections, I am deeply loved, that even in my setbacks, I am still moving forward because I am held by you. Help me to begin again with others too, to offer them the same mercy I have received, to give second chances, to believe in their transformation, to speak life into their weariness. Let me not define people by their worst moments, just as you do not define me by mine. May reconciliation be more than a dream, it can be a choice, a daily one, a costly one, but one that reflects your heart. In the places where I have grown cynical, sow new tenderness. In the corners of my soul where bitterness took root, plant compassion where I have closed off in self-protection. Teach me to open again, even if just a little, and if trust feels like too much. Help me begin with honesty. Let honesty pave the way back to wholeness. Father, remind me that starting over does not mean starting from scratch. I carry with me the wisdom I have gathered, the strength I have earned through pain, the perspective that only time and tears can give. My scars are not signs of failure, but proof of healing. You waste nothing, not even the most painful chapters. You weave them into purpose I may not yet see. And so, today, I breathe deeply. I unclench my fists. I take one more step into the unknown with a heart that is learning to trust again. I begin again not because I must, but because you make it possible. Because you are not done writing my story. Because every ending is also a door. Because resurrection is not a metaphor, but the rhythm of your love. You are making all things new. Even me, God. As this morning prayer reaches its final breath, my heart remains wide open, like the sky waiting to be painted by the first strokes of dawn. I come to you not with the need to conclude, but with the longing to continue this journey of abiding, trusting, and dwelling in the shelter of your peace. From the first whisper of desperation to this quiet stillness, you have walked beside me, never once withholding yourself, even when I hesitated, even when I wandered. You remained. The path here has not been straight or smooth, but it has been sacred. Each moment of surrender has shaped me. Each act of trust, no matter how small, has been met with grace. You have taught me that prayer is not a duty, but a refuge, not a transaction, but a relationship, not a last resort, but a lifeline. In you, I have found a dwelling place, a home that is not built of brick or wood, but of love, mercy, and quiet strength. I have spoken to you in trembling. I have cried in silence. I have stood in awe. And now, Lord, I simply rest. Not because every question has been answered, but because I no longer need to carry them alone. You are not just the one who hears my words, but the one who reads my soul. I do not need to impress you with eloquence. I need only to come as I am. You welcome the weary. You welcome the joyful. You welcome the broken, and you make them whole. Thank you for being the consistency in my chaos, the stillness in my storm, the light in my long night. Thank you for being the God who does not demand that I climb my way to you, but who descends in gentleness to meet me where I am. You never force. You invite. You never shame. You restore. You never turn away. You stay. Always. You stay. And now, as I breathe in this final morning of prayer, I realize that nothing is ending. The words may pause, but the communion continues. The flame of faith, kindled day by day, still burns. The rhythm of surrender still beats beneath my ribcage. You are not just God of beginnings, you are God of presence, present in every season, present in every breath. Let this prayer be more than a memory. Let it be a movement within me. Let it shape how I walk into the hours ahead, slower, more aware, more rooted. Let it change how I speak to others, with tenderness instead of judgment, with listening instead of reacting. Let it soften my heart where it has grown hard, and make room again for wonder. Let it guard me from cynicism. Let it birth in me the courage to keep choosing love, even when love costs everything. I want to live like someone who has been touched by grace. Because I have, I want to extend the mercy I have received. I want to be a vessel, not just a receiver. I want to let my life speak a language that tells the world, I have been in the presence of God, and He is good, He is kind, He is enough. Even when my voice falters, my soul will remember this sanctuary we have built together word by word, morning by morning, a place where I can always return, a place where I am never too late, a place where I am known and still loved, a place where my fears are quieted not because they are insignificant, but because you are greater. In this place, I have found peace that does not flee with trouble, a stillness that does not depend on the silence around me, but on the assurance within me. So I carry this peace now into my day, not in clenched fists, but in open hands, not in hurried footsteps, but in grounded presence, not in perfection, but in trust. Because peace is not a feeling I must chase, but a person who walks with me. Peace is not the absence of hardship, but the nearness of you. You go before me. You go behind me. You are beside me. I may forget these truths when the noise returns, when the demands come rushing in. But even then, you will not forget me. You will remind me again and again that I can return, that I can begin again, that I can pause, breathe, and reconnect with the sacred. And so this prayer is not an end, but a returning, a full circle that brings me home to you and sends me back into the world with new eyes. To anyone who has walked this journey with me, morning after morning, I thank you. Your quiet listening, your open heart, your courage to show up, these are sacred things. We have built something beautiful here. not perfect, but real, not polished, but sincere, and that is enough, your faithfulness to rise, to reflect, to pray, even when it felt hard, is a testament to your hunger for something deeper than what the world offers. Do not underestimate the quiet power of your devotion. If this prayer has stirred something within you, peace, longing, tears, clarity, I invite you to share it. Leave a piece of your heart below. Let this space be more than a monologue. Let it be a gathering of souls. And if today you feel renewed, share this prayer with someone who might need it. Someone who has forgotten their worth. Someone who needs light in their shadowed morning. I also invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking in truth together. Share these words if they have carried you through. Let this be more than a moment. Let it be a rhythm. Let it be a discipline that breathes life into your days. And above all, keep showing up. Even when you are tired, especially when you feel nothing. Because showing up is an act of faith. It tells your soul that you are still choosing to believe, still choosing to trust, still choosing to lean into the God who holds it all. Let this be your posture each morning, not striving, not performing, but simply opening. The morning light stretches across the horizon now, brushing gently against the windowsill. The air carries a quiet hush, like a lullaby only the spirit can hear. Somewhere nearby, water flows steadily, softly, a reminder that life moves forward, not in leaps, but in streams. And in this stillness, I remain with you, held, anchored, alive,